Yep. Okay. So let's get this over with. let's do this. First warning before anything, because people like to do this, and I really don't want to be that guy. But this is heavy spoilers. We saw the movie. We're going to talk about it. And I ain't about to hold back on nothing because I want people to view it for their own pleasure. Motherfucker, why the fuck are you listening to this if you don't want anything spoiled? I hate when reviewers do shit like that, because I generally don't like giving a spoiler warning because it's incredibly retarded. I'm going to talk about the movie. Whatever I say is a spoiler. If a guy and a girl fall in love with a movie, and that's your typical romance movie, you have spoiled the movie, period. But let's get this over with. So, we saw Spider-Man No Way Home. Gotta admit, overall interpretation of the movie is a 5 out of 10. I give it a general 50%. The special effects and the fight choreography were actually really good. I only say 50% because of the fact that the situation of everything happening in the movie was incredibly retarded from the beginning. So having something incredibly stupid be the major reason behind the plot makes everything else retarded by not comparison, but basically by default that comes after it. Because essentially you have a grand scale of horrible shit happening, including a family member dying, as well as this nigga getting erased from existence simply because he was upset that he couldn't get into college. That's fucking stupid. Like, that is generally retarded.
Well,
if they made it
college.
Yeah. But if they generally made it like far more grounded, or something to where it was like, yo, his life was in danger, or the literal reason why Peter Parker keeps his secret identity away from the people so they wouldn't get hurt, which would explain what happened with MJ, the Zendaya at the end. I keep wanting to say MJ because it's just natural, but that's Zendaya.
That's what they want, brainwashing.
Yeah, yeah, but that's Zendaya. But like, what happened at the end with Zendaya when he looked at her and she was like, it doesn't hurt anymore. I was like, if he was like, I don't want them to get hurt because of me. And then he was like, all right, yeah. And it's like, because you're Spider-Man.
Like how close they were, as well as, losing their life as well. And it's like,
and it was like, hell, it happened to your aunt, so don't be a fucking idiot.
Yeah, why wouldn't you be like, nah, I need space. Like, I can't. I want to, but I can't.
But then, like, at the same time, be like, I'm Peter or something like that. And it's like, yeah, just do like what Andrew and Toby could have told him, was like, no, you can balance being Peter Parker and Spider-Man. It takes work.
That would have been
something.
Considering the fact that the trailer itself made it a big thing when Doctor Strange said it. And he was like, there are problems that you're trying to balance both your lives. If they would have came out, people that go through your experience was like, nah, it's possible. It's going to seem hard all the time. But best believe. And then have it from both spectrums of Spider-Man, to where one who lost the love of his life and the other one who had to struggle to get back with the love of his life. So then you could have it from both sides of the coin, to where it was like, you're going to lose some stuff. And it was like, it's going to be hard, but that doesn't mean you can't do it. It just means it's hard. It's going to hurt. Like what Andrew was saying, he was like, at times I stopped pulling my punches.
Yeah.
And it was like, because that's just how angry I was.
Because I lost the love of my fucking life. So that
crying, 10%, man.
But it's like that would have only been significant if the movie itself would have focused on their dynamic. If the movie had far more importance of having those other Spider-Man try to help him be a better Spider-Man,
and him wondering like, how were they capable of doing it? Like, how come y'all never stop? Like, especially like seeing how old Toby was, and it's like, how are you able to keep going after everything? It's
like even during the moment when he was like, Aunt May's dead, and then he was like struggling to feel like in all that pain and rage and whatnot, still if he was like questioning and asking them, that way it just wasn't so obvious when that nigga was like, he's gonna fight Green Goblin, being like, no, I'm gonna kill you. And I was like, there's nothing behind this but stupid. And I was like, because this nigga was joking and talking.
Yeah, because now that goes against everything from what it was trying to seem like what Toby was saying. He was like, the guy I thought killed my uncle, like, he's dead now. But that didn't change anything. Like, I'm telling you right now, it's not gonna.
And then he was like, I always thought like, making something to fix Goblin. And he was like, we gotta save them all, right? And it was like, yeah. And I was like, if they added more to that, I was like, you can't have Tom Holland still joke around, but then try to play it off as like, nah, this nigga gonna get serious when he's seeing Green Goblin. Fuck that. No, that was bad. Now, I'm not going to say that the movie was 100% terrible. No, the special effects was fine. The stunt work and everything that they did was cool. And a lot of the fights were actually really good, except for the last one. The last one was a fucking shit show of a fight, and I don't understand how that happened. They had the camera way too close. They kept shaking the shit. It was fucking terrible. It was
completely one-sided.
It was completely one-sided. It was just a terrible fight altogether.
It was one-sided when the fight before that was, it was a struggle.
And a good fight at that. Because it was like, this nigga was getting berated on all fronts. So he's like, yeah, the lizard come out, beat the shit out of him.
As soon as he got outside, and he was like, yeah, then the lizard was out there. He knocked his ass back in. And then he had to deal back with this monster.
It was like, that was actually a good fight. You know, it was like, that was something that was okay. But trying to have this last fight just be so anticlimactic, and then the world was like everything was going to happen was like super predictable because Toby jumped in the way, Andrew just sat there, and then he got stabbed, and that
Toby, not Andrew.
Yeah, Toby got stabbed, but it was like that was so fucking predictable, it was retarded. But at the same time, it was like, well, it ain't gonna kill him because that would just piss off so many people. But it's just predictable. But then it was like there was nothing from Green Goblin doing that to Toby, and it was like, that's his Spider-Man. That's the nigga that got him killed.
There was no interaction.
There was like, they never interacted at all, and it was like, that was so retarded. I was like, even when they had other villains show up and then they interacted with those other villains, Toby and freaking Willem Dafoe never said anything to each other, and that's just retarded. That is a terrible thing to do. Especially with the history that was going on. And then you had other moments in the entire movie.
Is it still too late for you to join me? Nothing. Like, just talk. Like, nothing. Because, like, they still, apparently, like, they had the memory before until they died. So it's like, yeah, why wouldn't they interact?
Say something. It was like, hell, that was just bogus. Like, he talked to Doc Ock. He talked to Sandman. Not Green Goblin. That was a waste of an opportunity right there.
Heck, at first I thought it was like, I thought he was going to break them all out. Because when he came to the little fortress, I thought he was going to break them out. And it was like, yeah, all this was a ploy. Because he just knew something like bigger was happening. Because he saw when Doc Ock disappeared. And it was like, all right.
But realistically, that's exactly what he did, technically. You know, he's just in a slow, let's use them to help us kind of way.
Because like that could have added more, you know, the villains doing something. Right. It's like if they broke out and it was like, nah, and afterwards they take the cube and it's like, yeah, we ain't going back. And it was like, now that we know, and it's like, why would I go back to death when I could just be here and all of that? But it was like, nah, it's just him. Like, nah, we gonna help him. And all which also
didn't make any sense because it was like, we're gonna help you and then I'll put you back in your universe. But that doesn't mean that they will be back fixed when you send them back to the universe. You don't know if what happens to them in this universe transitions over when they go back to their universe. So it was also a really weird and dumb thing where that wasn't explained, yet that was like a big old thing by it. And it was like, oh no matter what, they'll be fine when they go back over to their universe. And it was like, how the fuck would you know that? And then that would also screw up with the timeline of Toby and Andrew. Because if you fix and stop both Electro as well as the Lizard, Gwen isn't going to die.
Nope.
So that doesn't make any sense.
And then
the dad wouldn't die. So it's like, that wouldn't make any goddamn sense. And then especially, like, that's retarded.
And also how easy and willingly Jamie Foxx, Max was willing to, you know, give up this power that made him be somebody. That was the whole movie he was going. He's like, yo, people are looking at me now. And it's like, I'm something. And it's like, all right. And it's like, nah, the man just so easy. Like, all right. The fact that he just sat there. And it's like, when he started questioning, he's like, nah, this don't feel right. And then the Sandman was talking to him. He's like, well, like, you just got to wait it out so that I can get it. Nah, like, I don't like this. Like, this, nah. And I was like, yeah, like, and that sounds like, yeah, because it's realistically, it's going against what you believe you are right now. I was like, your power, that's you right now. And it was like, it did all this stuff for you. And you going,
I guess you could turn me back normal. And it was like, what the fuck? And it was like, well, and in case, but it's like, you know, if you want to sit there and go, the duality of it was that, oh, this nigga would die in the process. But it's like, Max wasn't someone that was an idiot, nor was he someone that was willing to relinquish power. So at the same time, I was like, hell, the fact that they had Zendaya and the Fat Boy run away with the cube when it was like, if you release Electro, this nigga can catch up to him immediately and kill them immediately. And I was like, and then they just made it to where like, oh, that's not a possibility. That was retarded.
Hey, realistically, the Lizard should have caught them.
Yeah, the Lizard, yeah.
Like, duck. And it's like, yeah. Like, I saw you struggle at first fighting Goblin and fighting him when he was outside. And it was like, he's a lot stronger than you.
Like, I can snap your head off. The end. But just the worst. Not going to take away from what was positive about the movie. Lord knows it was some positive, but
Lord, Toby, and Andrew.
Yeah. those guys sold the shit, and it was like, yeah, nostalgia bait like a motherfucker. But Lord, like, man, when they showed up, they just made the movie 1,000 times better. What was crazy was that the banter between the villains and a lot of the stuff and the conversations that was going on was really interesting. But you had to seep through the most boring aspect of Tom Holland's life in this fucking Spider-Man, and it was just so outrageously boring.
And as well as from what the MCU is now trying to do. Like you said, there was so many times when they tried to be funny, and you could tell, but it just sucked. And it was, and people in the theater like laughing, and it was like, that was really...
It sounded forced. And it was like I felt like they were laughing because they thought they were meant to laugh.
Yeah, because it was going off the atmosphere.
Yeah,
it was like the build of like what they set up. It was like it wasn't funny. It's like a lot of times they were trying to be funny, but it was like it really wasn't funny.
Yeah, and it was like the fat friend doing stuff, and it was like ha 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 ha.
A lot of his stuff was just annoying.
It was like that shit wasn't funny. And I was like, this wasn't funny at all. These were really hack-made jokes that they're trying to disguise like just the bad writing that they had within the show.
When he started coming up, I was like, it was being annoying. Like when he came up and started talking to Toby, I was like, I thought it was just gonna be Toby and Andrew talking. I was like, just show more of them. And then he just asked the whole thing, and he was like, do you got a best friend? And it was like going off to when he was like, maybe everyone got a friend in the chair. Maybe there's more me. And he was like, I had one.
He was like, he died in my arms when he tried to kill me. And I was like, that should have been a huge thing that was brought up between Peter and Green Goblin when they saw each other. To where it was like, Green Goblin was like, when I died, what happened to Harry? And I was like any of that could have been done, and that would have spoke volumes for their character. Because like they could have did so much in terms of building on the development of the characters from the previous movies, but all that they wanted to focus on was Tom Holland. Granted, it's his movie, but what they focused on was the wrong shit for his character.
He could have did more with Andrew and Electro.
Yeah,
and it was like him going deep. It was like, I've never tried to go against you. Like Electro still having the mindset. It was like, no, like you betrayed me. He's like, I was always trying to help you, man.
And it was like, since it was just an immediate calm, nah, man, I guess I'm out. I ain't got no power, so I don't matter no more. And I was like, if it was something where he was struggling all the way up to the end, and he was like, you gonna take this, like if he was like, you taking this away from me, and it was like, I was special, people could see me, and it was like, just had him really calm about it so they could add in the joke that he did. Yeah, it was funny. That joke was funny, but at the same time, it could have started off on 10 and then went down to a 3. And it's like, and it could have mellowed out until that point. And it just would have been good little development for those characters, considering this whole movie is built on closure for all these motherfuckers. So that's its own problem of just this terrible writing, and it's just missed opportunities to do shit. But the worst part of this fucking movie is the beginning, and every time you saw Zendaya and the fat friend, this movie went out of its fucking way to shoehorn those bastards into this movie for absolutely no reason whatsoever, in order to have it to where at the end, the fact that they were no longer friends with him, with Spider-Man, was like such a heartbreaking thing. But it wasn't. It didn't matter. Like, when it was over with, I was just more so bored again, because it's like, this shit is stupid.
Because the whole situation, they shouldn't have been there, especially considering his whole hang-up. Like you said, at the end, seeing a little bandage, it's like, yo, y'all can get hurt. It's like, yo, you literally was getting your ass whooped by one dude came from another dimension, and now you're told that there's more. And you go, I'm going to bring these 2 mortal people to help me.
And all they did was dick all nothing. You were washing your suit. Your fat friend was on the internet looking up shit, which is something you could have done. Hell, you had a suit that was able to hack in and look up information on shit. So all of that could have been happening separately. You could have been doing your own thing at the same time while trying to figure out what the hell was going on. And it could have been a struggle, as well as what should have been doing was having it to where the friends were desperately trying to contact him. And then he was trying to keep them at a safe distance so they wouldn't get hurt because of what the fuck's going on with him. And then that leads them into either busting in on what he's doing and then subsequently starting to help because he needed help. Same thing that happened with Gwen on The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which is what led to her getting killed. But also that would have been a way for it was like, okay, it's not a matter of him endangering his friends or people that he cares about, but more so them doing stupid shit because that's just who they are because they care about Peter. And that would have been fine. You know, it's like, I'm not going around putting my aunt in danger. Danger follows me, and it happened to bring in my aunt because of it. So I learned that lesson because that is a learning thing, and that would actually be good fucking writing. But instead, you just got this nigga going, I'm telling Doctor Strange, all right, you need to track down these people so we can get rid of them. because some shit's going on and it's like fucking up the timeline or whatever. And it's like, okay, that's cool. I need help, so I'm gonna bring in Zendaya and Fat Friend. Why?
Fat Friend, no.
That was hella gay. It's like, why? Like, what significance does that hold? And then just to have like weird little awkward like high schooler moments with these characters. Hell, I hated when it was like, let's get that Indian motherfucker to play Flash Thompson again, and then dye his hair blonde.
Oh my god, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Flash,
I was like, that's why that motherfucker hair blonde. I was like, his hair.
I was just
blonde.
thinking, I was like, you know, shit's weird nowadays. People got pink hair, they got blue.
And I was like, oh fuck no.
Hair.
I was like, you had him have blonde hair, and then you just have it persist with this dude being incredibly annoying thereafter. I was like, Flash wouldn't even function like this. I was like,
Did he have a
comics
Letterman jacket on too?
Yeah, but it was like, and then I was like, Flash don't even really function like this. But at the same time, no, he didn't have a Letterman jacket. He had the MIT hoodie.
Okay.
Yeah, but it was like, it doesn't even make sense that. Like this character, like it was like the character that you made, it did whatever. But I was like, you're trying to shoehorn him into the story, and it was just fucking stupid. He's like, you know what I want. All right, I'm gonna tell everybody that you're my best friend. Yeah, why? And it was like Flash whole thing is that he's inspired to be a better person because of Spider-Man. He's not on it for clout. So you undermine that aspect by having him do that. Literally something that you built up in your other fucking movies by having him admire Spider-Man so much. So having him find out that it was Peter Parker, he doesn't apologize for his actions, nor does he sit there and feel humble towards the fact that
His
Peter Parker did that
changed
at all. And I was like, hell, it would have been a nice touch if you had it to where he was one of the only few people who acknowledged and accepted the fact that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, and then was one of the few people who was like, I know you didn't do it.
Yeah, like still classified like, you're still a hero to me.
And it was like, and then I was like, you can slyly put down that he would be like, nah, like we're best friends. Like, yeah, I've known Peter for like the longest and stuff like that. So like, nah. And it was like, if they would have done that, that would have been fine. That would have been a nice little touch that you could have gave, because then it would have also shown that there's an opposition in this world. Because you didn't give that. You have people sit there going like, hey, Spider-Man, but then they would immediately be like, you killed Mysterio. You know you're a murderer, right? And that didn't make any sense. I was like, there's no duality, because this nigga actively still goes out and save people on a daily fucking basis. But for whatever reason, all of that got pushed to the side simply because Mysterio said he's a killer.
Actually, no, it would have been better if their fight was in the city, but for that reason, they don't want him in the city. Yeah. And if, because of the fact that he called J. Jonah Jameson, and then everyone knew who he was, I thought it was weird to, no media came when all the other times media came.
Helicopters and all that shit.
Because it would have been cool if you were seeing them do that, and then him everyone seeing him saving people and all that and fighting all these heroes, but still at the end, even though everyone accepts him, at the end it still plays out that everyone always forgets him. So it's when they forget that he's him, and then it's yeah, all right. So it's they don't know. They don't remember what he just did. So, you still got J. Jonah Jameson, still yo, he's a menace and all of that. But it's nah. Yeah. Even having J. Jonah Jameson antagonistic towards him when, as we know, he hasn't been a Spider-Man. So they're running really, he's Spider-Man, but, he hasn't been doing things in the sense for, J. Jonah Jameson to come after him and be nah, he's
and
a
then
menace.
The fact that and it was and then that was another thing that they tried to fix with the end by having him be, everything get reset. And that pissed me off like crazy, because I was like, him being this antagonistic towards Spider-Man, despite the fact that the reason that he hates him so much is because of his vigilantism. When he found out that he was Peter Parker, he wouldn't care this much. Because his whole thing is the fact that he's a mass hero.
Yeah, I forgot why.
Yeah, because his wife, I believe his first wife was either killed or attacked because of someone who wore a mask.
Yeah, he was you can't trust those type of people.
Yeah, and it was someone who hides behind a mask is a coward. And it's no matter what you do, you're a coward. And then it was you're up to something. And it was so he doesn't trust those people. Good guy, just don't like Spider-Man.
And it was bring up the fact that, especially in their world, it's we got countless of heroes that have their identity out, but what you're still trying to hide.
Yeah, that would be fine. But it's by bringing it up to where this nigga is the one who outed Spider-Man and for being Peter Parker, but then subsequently is oh no, I hate him just off of that basis. That doesn't make any sense for J. Jonah Jameson.
Because they were just playing off a name. It's yo, you know what J. Jonah Jameson is? Here you go. Plop him right in.
So he would actively do shit that would just immediately incriminate or disbarge anything that Spider-Man did to showcase him being bad. And it was you filming him outside fighting a bunch of supervillains.
Him going out on the field is crazy. It's him on the field.
He did it when he's in his younger days.
Yeah, but at the same time, he's at that point where he doesn't have to.
Yeah, and then you're making it to where he's an extremist a fucking journalist. So he's someone who is on the web and on the net making shit. So he would like be getting conspiracy videos, not actually be out there filming shit.
Because like if he like how on the third Spider-Man with Tobey, like if he's there, all right, then that's different. Because like hell, even he wears Parker. He's like Parker's never where you need him to be. And it's like yeah, that would be something he would. And it's like heck, he got the camera from the girl, and it's like yo, I need this stuff right now. And it's like yeah, if he's there. But it's like if he's in his office and it's like, yo, this is about to happen, he's not about to go, all right, I'm about to go all the way down there. And it's like, no.
And it's like you didn't set him up as that journalist. If you didn't know, they were basically hugely poking fun at the Alex Jones dude who basically has a bunch of conspiracy videos, and it's like, you know, you believe if you want, I don't give a fuck. But they were basically making fun of him. That's why they even had the supplement thing, which is something that the Alex Jones dude also puts up on his shows and whatnot. Oddly enough, Patrice O'Neal was on his show before. Speaking mad truth. Yeah, and I was like, crazy. But that's a little fun fact.
Damn, that man had this show for a while.
Yeah.
I thought he was new.
Yeah. And so then so it was like they were making fun of him, but then it was like you're making it a website that kind of uses hit pieces and conspiracy things and whatnot, and then it's just all antagonizing Spider-Man. But then even what he was filming when he was there, it was like, why is this painting him in a bad picture when there's a bunch of things out there that he's fighting and he's not endangering any civilians? If he was endangering,
when the cops showed up, that made no sense. It was like
they opened fire for no fucking reason. It's like this nigga ain't doing nothing.
Like you just saw a man of lightning come out and start shocking cars. A whole thing of sand went out of nowhere. Then it was like when he saw Doc Ock, he's like, that's the dude from the bridge that attacked the bridge. He's like, you're seeing all of this. And you go, nope. And it's like, hell, even when they show him find a lizard. And it was like, okay. And it was like, what does this mean?
Like, this is all his fault. And it was like, that doesn't make any fucking sense.
How do you make that connection?
And it was like, this story is warping shit for no fucking reason. It's like without any type of base behind it. It's like, it'd been different if it was showing like while the fight was happening, civilians were getting hurt, or Spider-Man was trying to help people and they were screaming and running and it looked like he was helping them, but at the same time you have Jameson twisting what was going on by saying he's endangering the people, he's trying to hurt them, these people are trying to stop him, what the hell is going on?
Him pushing someone out the way and they were like, look at him attacking civilians, and it was like
that would have been better. And it was like that would have
in on the shot, so only shows Spider-Man and the whoever he pushed out and not whoever he was fighting behind him.
All of that would have been, it was like that would have been a small thing that would have basically made all of this shit make so much more fucking sense. But you couldn't even do that because you're terrible writers who just make the most basic shit stupid. It's like, God, this shit is so simple. And it's like, all you need is someone to sit in the room, and when you're being told this shit, you go, wait a minute, that doesn't make any sense. Like, how does that equate to this nigga becoming public enemy number one, as well as the news of his aunt being killed or murdered, or being able to do an autopsy on her body to showcase that she was killed from blunt force trauma or something like that, to showcase that, like, yeah, this isn't really anything that incriminates him. And the fact that you had nobody else in this world of superheroes come to help him. I get that you want to make this its own individual movie, but when it becomes something that is of this magnitude in an area where so many motherfuckers congregate that have powers and none of them come to help, that makes absolutely no fucking sense.
Doctor Strange, like Doctor Strange could go to anybody out there, like, yo, like you said, this is messing with the world and like our universe. That's a whole nother subject.
Yeah,
you know that movie needed the people from Train from Tobey. They know his identity. Hey, they should have brought the Train.
and that was the other thing that I hated. And I was like, the fact that it was like everyone immediately just made this nigga a monster. Like, he was like, oh, he killed Mysterio. Mysterio was right. And I was like, and that's a play on the Thanos thing that they got going on now, because they keep having stuff that says Thanos was right on different stuff. Because it was like on Hawkeye, he was drinking out of a mug that I thought was hilarious, because it was like Thanos was right, he was just drinking out of it, and I was like, that's funny. But
that's high class comedy, right?
Yeah, and like you see it like spray painted on walls and shit like that, and I was like, all right, cool. But then it has with Mysterio, and it was like Mysterio was right, he's gonna go down as a hero or whatever, and like, all right, that kind of doesn't really play here, because that nigga was only around for a couple of days. You just immediately made him amazing, but then and then that was the other bullshit thing in the story. And it's like, you had nothing else to disprove Quentin Beck. And it was like, you knew this nigga worked for Tony Stark. You knew he was using or abusing the technology or whatever. And it was like, you weren't able, and it was like, hell, even in the second movie, Fury could tell that a drone strike was issued on the fucking boy by Peter. And it was like, so you couldn't do that for Quentin Beck? It was like you couldn't see that this nigga was abusing or using the Edith program for his own thing.
Yeah, especially since then now it was like a figure to
Him,
him.
yeah.
So then you can take that. Hey, guess what? You just had to end the movie, just showed them on that ship, and he was like, "Well, everything's settled."
So, yeah.
So like, we ain't got to worry about it. And it was like,
that doesn't make any goddamn sense. And it was like, you already established that this shit happens just because Peter does it. So why isn't it not happening when Quentin Beck does it? He didn't disable anything. He just kept using the same program the exact same way. Also, this nigga took video of what happened and then was able to get that video altered by whoever else was working on it. But you're telling me that no smart person was able to sit there and go, or to have an opposition to go, that video's fake. And it was like, Quentin Beck actually made this video and altered it. Here's what actually happened or something like that. None of that came out. The Stark Industries wouldn't be able to go, no, when these drone strikes were happening, Quentin Beck was actually the one that was in control of the Edith program, not Peter Parker.
Hey, anybody, like you said, like how Doctor Strange was when he saw him, because that's what he said to him. We saved the world together. Like, well, we say half the universe together. We're cool. Like, well, I'm not gonna be like, nah, you're through. All right, you're done, kid. You're done. And it was like, no, like we fought a greater battle than anyone would ever know. What do you need?
And it's like, and continuity-wise, Spider-Man has been a hero much longer and has been doing way more than Quentin Beck has. Yet he was immediately just shoved in just the terrible scope of being a murderer, while Quentin Beck was immediately praised as a hero, which would be a cool concept if you was to make your own individual story. Whereas like there's already an established group of heroes, and the new guy that joins up figures out that one of the heroes is actually a villain, and then he has to try and prove that nigga a villain, but at the same time he's trying to be a hero himself. But that would be an interesting concept.
Like the pedestal people hold him on, like, right. That's impossible.
Right. Or like, he
my grandma
has incriminating evidence that basically would be like, oh, this goes against what this nigga's been doing. So then people would be like, yo, man, are you actually a criminal? And he'd be like, man, come on, that's all fake news. Shit like that. That would be an interesting story. That would be a cool thing to happen. But not in this story, which basically has too much shit backing it that would not be able to hold water when this shit comes to a head. I said a lot of different things that kind of didn't really coagulate together. But
you know what you meant, damn it.
Yeah. But essentially, it's like you have way too much technology and shit going around to where it's like it can immediately identify and augment that this shit ain't real or this shit isn't happening the way that it's supposed to. Hell, the audio logs between Fury and Quentin Beck talking and whatnot, or like the proof of video that obviously all of these fucking special agents or the drones themselves would have recorded to prove any of the stories that were happening. Hell, the fact that they took in and had the damaged drones during that fight, and I was like, and none of the data or information for what their commands were or any of their programming.
The fact that Happy couldn't get nothing.
Yeah.
And it was like, why wouldn't he? Well, Pepper is supposed to be so smart.
Yeah, and it's like, she's the owner of the fucking company.
Why wouldn't she come out and help this boy that her dead husband, where he should be?
Hell, the fact
S.H.I.E.L.D.,
the S.H.I.E.L.D. isn't the main ones fronting up this shit. We got a different organization of motherfuckers that never existed until now.
What they call it? Like the Dolph or something?
Yeah, and I was like, these motherfuckers, I was like, it feels safe.
They knew about him. It was the fact that they knew it was like, Free's been off world for a year. And it's like, how you gonna know this information? I feel like that should be top.
I was like, if they were Sword, that'd be different. And I was like, if they were Sword, that would be understandable.
Hey, they brought up what, Hammer? Ain't that the other one?
Yeah, but yeah.
I'm just saying because they already established Sword and WandaVision.
So it was like if you was to do like if it was to be Sword, and it was like it would make sense to why S.H.I.E.L.D. is being boycotted from interfering or anything like that. But it was like you introduced a brand new different thing, and then they knew about S.H.I.E.L.D. and they knew about Nick Fury, but at the same time, I was like, they're not going to cooperate. They're not going to collaborate the story from Nick Fury by getting his statement or anything like that. They were just like, Nick Fury's been off world all this time. All right, then who else in S.H.I.E.L.D. can we talk to fix and like showcase that nigga? I was doing the job, and it was like I was working with S.H.I.E.L.D. That was what I was doing. It's not something that you could just immediately disallow. Like, no, I was actively working with fucking S.H.I.E.L.D. So we can prove that. It's like, we can prove I work with S.H.I.E.L.D.
Did you sign the sign-in sheet? There was a sign-in sheet? Well, we can't prove you was there. Yeah.
It was like, hell, it was like he still had the Edith glasses. So it was like nothing is making this nigga be like, okay, Edith, pull up the audio file of this, that, or that, and like showcase, like,
so they
Edith.
didn't erase nothing. Yeah. So it's like, now this man, like, the resources he had, the fact that he couldn't do nothing except get this blind lawyer, that was it. Like the joke they was doing with Happy is like, yeah, you're going to get a good lawyer. I was like, why y'all make it seem like he's a bum now? Like he has nothing. Like He
and it
would
was like
have resources.
he's still head of security at Stark Industries. So no matter what, this nigga's covered. I was like, hell, if he said, like, hell, that was another missed opportunity where it's like you could have had Pepper basically say something, but she was like, yeah, like this is like really bad. And it was like, we can't really prove anything. And it was like, hell, even when it was like, yeah, your case is going to be bad and we can prove that you're innocent, but that won't stop public opinion. That would have been fine. And it was like, you can give all the evidence that you want, and they would have shown everything that proved that Spider-Man didn't do it.
But that's what J. Jonah
Jameson is. Yeah. And it was like, and that was your out for that situation.
He can see everybody. He could see Spider-Man saved as a people. Best believe it. Yo, that motherfucker gotta go.
And I was like, and that was your out. And I was like, that was a perfect out because you had him in this movie and that extent. That's all you needed to do. Hell, also the fact you had J. Jonah Jameson in this world and then Toby didn't acknowledge him or say anything about him. That was another missed fact.
Especially the fact that he looks just like him.
Yeah. That and Andrew Garfield saying something because he worked for him also in his movies.
Yep.
The fact they say
sent his in the future, email.
And he was like, I left a message on the Daily Bugle, and it was like, and he was like, wait, y'all got that? And it was like, yeah, and it was like, just like, and it was like, I call him Pickle Puss or something like that, and it's like they just say their different nicknames and they talk about him, and I was like, that was a missed opportunity, but yeah, and I was like, all you had to do was like, yeah, you could have shown any type of files, any type of information that would have proven Spider-Man's innocence, to where it's like, yeah, charges don't stick, this man is innocent, he's fine, and you just have public opinion sway to where other people are like, no, Mysterio was a hero, that nigga lying.
Or trying to do that showcase that like Mysterio thought more on this.
Yeah.
It was like, like he actually erased files or whatever.
Or but like his people are still around doing something.
Something. But nah, it was just, nope, my whole plan was this video, and that's it.
I was like, a whole lot, dude. And it was like, that's fucking retarded. And you could have had that and then still have other people that was like, no, Spider-Man's a hero. That man saved my cat. And I was like, Spider-Man, that dude is the one who saved us from Thanos. Like, none of that popped up at all.
That man held my grandma up the stairs. I mean, ain't really nothing. My grandma big as hell. Can you put her up the stairs?
That's a huge bitch.
Let me see it. There she is right there. Damn.
And then they kept having them lift cars.
Strong.
They kept having them lift cars, which makes me go, how the fuck did Captain America beat this nigga when he could lift fucking cars?
Well, as we both know, Captain America laid him out if he wanted to. Because this is America.
Bitch made stuff. And it's just such the unnecessary beginning of this movie. Like, just everything leading up to this dude trying to plead his case to the MIT chick after the fact of having a stupid moment with Doctor Strange and whatever. All of that shit was unnecessary. Having him and Zendaya have their talk as well as the friend do a bunch of dumb shit. Having Zendaya and Aunt May basically seem like these women who got it all going on and they got everything under control. Fucking retarded.
That's all that was. Especially her talking like, nah, they need help. And then he was like, that's not our problem. They got to go back. Like, things are unstable right now. This is beyond your concept of reality. And she like, is it a problem for them? Or are you just trying to get
like,
what? And it's like, our world is unstable right now. Who knows what's going to happen?
And it's like, they don't belong here, auntie.
And as far as they know, like, the first person I encountered tried to kill me. And it's like, I beat him because of MacGuffin reasons or whatever. And it's like, he was whooping my ass.
And it's like, they don't fucking belong here. It was like, they're, and it's like, yo, this is seriously a situation where it's like, this is not my problem. But at the same time, it's like, I'm not supposed to fix anybody. I haven't been fixing anybody.
Just like Green Goblin was telling him, he was like, yo, this your auntie fault. Like, I saw it. He was like, yeah, I saw it behind his weak eyes. You over there listening to her. That's what got you in this mess right now. He was like, yeah.
He's like, yo, sense of morality. And it was like, yeah, if you didn't do this dumb shit, like, if it wasn't for your selfish dumbass of a wish, then they wouldn't be there in the first place. And also the concept of being like, we can just send them home now. And Jim being like, oh no, I don't want to because we should try and help them. For what? And it was like, then no matter what. And it was like, oh, they die fighting Spider-Man. And it was like, that is their destiny. And it was like, that's not our place to question that. These niggas are evil. But we got to try and help them. It's like, that's not how that works. Because if that was how that works, we wouldn't be in this situation because we're in this situation because of your selfishness.
So for you, Dr. Strange, because he was beat up. Y'all ran into him in the sewers, and it was like, yeah, man, he caught a little bit of that lizard.
It's like one of the situations where it was like, yo, because of your selfishness, these people were pulled out of their lot in life, and in order for this to happen, and then now you're gonna sit here and go, well, I can fix that for him. No, nigga. And I was like, that's not the situation.
He the black dude from Hope.
Yeah, the black dude from Hope.
I can fix that
for you. I can fix that for you.
Man, they shot that man on the boat.
Whole leg dried up.
They shouldn't have did that. He was a good boy.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. That's too damn bad.
Now that's a good Disney movie.
Shia LaBeouf, never been better. Until he was Ladies Man 2187. But fuck. It's like that. Like the beginning of that movie was incredibly outrageous, like just the worst. God, that was terrible. It's like, do you want us help them send them back, or do you want oh my God, are you serious right now? And it was like I did something really bad and really selfish and really stupid, and it drew these dangerous motherfuckers in here that are from another world. And literally throughout all of these movies, I have not been in a position where I've been trying to help people, nor have I tried to help people or stop them from doing what they're doing. This is out of character for me in this movie. I don't do this. And it was like, that's not...
That was true. He wouldn't let Vulture get arrested because, shit go down in jail. So if he was trying to help him, and also because of his connection with the daughter, he would have did something instead of, her having to leave, considering how much he cared about her. He would have...
Same thing with Quentin Beck. And it was like, he would have tried to save him rather than, it was like, while fighting him and being like, yeah, it's over with. And it's like, he would have did something where it was like, Beck, if you do this, you could get hurt. Stop it. Like, it's over with. Of that.
When he had the glider and he was going to stab Willem Dafoe, I was just sitting there. I was like, yo, I said, make this movie perfect. Fucking Topher Grace come out. Then I was like, if he would have came out, man, sky's the limit for this movie. He was like, hey, I like that move. And then he
was like, hey, Parker, mind if I cut Eddie? Eddie? He's like, ah! And I was like, what? And I did just be like, what the fuck is that? And there'd be the one F word in the movie. It's just, what the fuck was that?
Shit get real over here, homeboy.
Ain't no mats out here, homeboy. Like that, like there's so many issues with this movie that were just fucking annoying. Cause it was like, it just makes everything...
on paper, it could have been amazing.
Yeah, it was like, but it just made so much shit inconsistent. It was like, nigga, this don't make any sense plot-wise. And it was like, this story does not hold up because of all of this bullshit. Hell, having this nigga swing around with Zendaya and Fat Fran on a camera looking at him while he's swinging around as Spiderman. And it's like, how the fuck is this helping? And then they were sitting there going, go left, no, go right. I was like, they are not contributing anything. This doesn't make any sense. I was like, this is dumber than when you had an AI program tell you how to use your own fucking powers, which they got rid of because that's incredibly fucking stupid. But now
this was made by a man.
Yeah. That don't know your fucking powers. It's like, but for whatever reason, you constantly trying to contribute and adding your friends into something stupid makes no fucking sense whatsoever.
When they came up and they found out about that he was trying to do a spell or whatever with Doctor Strange, and she was like, well, the next time you think about doing something like this, like, maybe you talk about it.
Yeah, run it by us first.
And it was like, yo, you don't know what's on my mind. Like, what I have to go through daily, you will never understand that. It's like, at most, you would just worry about, yo, every time I go out there, I might not come back. Yeah. And it was like, I completely understand that sucks. But hey, if I got this power, I'm going to go use it.
Well, that's our lot in life. It's not a lot, but it's our life. Bug's Life, nigga. Another good Disney movie. Well, Pixar. But it's the same thing. It's not the same.
For a second, I thought she was going to say, go get him, Tiger, when she was like, what I always say. Mm-hmm. He was like,
yeah, but no.
He'd be like, you expect. And then I thought she would be like, nah, go get him, Tiger. I was like, you motherfucker. But no.
That's when someone should have punched somebody in the face. Someone said that, and I was like, yo, I got to punch somebody in the fucking face. But and she's just this depressing, stupid, arduous of a dread of a person. Having these niggas constantly try to validate and then reassure that they're in a relationship was annoying. That's why I hated the fact that they had Happy say that when he was talking to her on the phone. He's like, we get it. You guys like each other. You don't need to reaffirm that every chance you get. And I was like, you already know that you like each other. We get it. And I was like, so why is this movie constantly doing that? And I was like, this isn't. I was like, you're trying to make the audience feel something. So at the end, when everybody forgets about him, they can sit there and be like, oh, this is bittersweet. No, this is stupid because everything that happened starts off from a very stupid purpose. It'd be totally different if the reason that he wanted everyone to forget was something where it was like, it was so serious and so outrageous that like Doctor Strange was like, yeah, we got to do that. Because that's fucked up.
Like I said, how the movie started, though, like, the music was nice. The situation didn't seem dire. It seemed more comical when he was on top of the bridge and he was talking to a friend. And she, hello, oh, my bad. Like, I forgot about you. And then she was like, yeah, like, I'm not using it.
And then, like, it picked up immediately where the last one left off. And it's like, yeah, that's whatever. But
like,
still.
Like, the situation doesn't seem funny. Hell, like, as soon as he got back home, it was a sex joke. They're like, oh, practice safe sex. It's like, oh, you're MJ. Oh, it's nice to meet you. And it was like there's no threat to this. And it's like, hell, the fact that he can go to school normally, because like I said again, he hasn't built up Spiderman. So like, you don't have villains, and it's like
you don't have
only two.
But it's like, and then like you've been stopping crime and shit like that.
Apparently.
So like that's
what they say.
which is literally the whole reason why your identity cannot be revealed is because motherfuckers have sniper guns. It was like people that got snipers and people actively know that you have a girlfriend and best friends that hang out with you. This shit is stupid. And the fact that none of them were being antagonized or like attacked or anything like that made absolutely no sense.
Hey, whenever on the weekend, he was, are you his girlfriend? And he don't touch her. And it was like, and he swung away. I thought it was weird that one dude jumped at him. And I was like, yo, this is dumb.
Yeah, I was like, that was dumb. Yeah, and then because that was dumb when it happened on the second movie because he just dropped her off in a crowded area. I was like, hell, he picked her up. There was nobody around on a street, and I was like, because filming, yeah, in New York, and I was like, because filming. And then he picked her up, and then he dropped her off on a corner because why wouldn't he do that?
Because that's where she belongs. Make that money
on that corner, girl.
That's what you should have said at the end when she forgot on him. Was like, hey,
and I do
want to see a spider dick?
I do not find Zendaya attractive at all. She is. I was like, a perfect example of explaining her is like a niece. And I was like, you would go, yeah, my niece is cute. And I was like, and then you would point at Zendaya. I was like, but she is not attractive. She has no body. Whatever. And I was like, whatsoever. And I was like, she's
a model.
I don't give a fuck.
No, I'm saying that's typical.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. And it was like, yeah, that doesn't bring in sex appeal. That just means that you're really skinny. But ew, I was like, everything about her is like, you are not attractive. And I was like, and then the fact that they keep pushing the fact that you motherfuckers are like high schoolers, gross. And I was like, so y'all already look underage, but none of you are getting taller than what your height is right now. But
that's it.
Yeah, I was like, so ew. I was like, you guys are not. I was like, she is not pretty. I was like, she's not. I was like, she's nice looking, but she ain't pretty. And I was like, hell, I was like,
she
at least
no prime Salma Hayek.
Hell, I was like, at least I was like, you had Emma Stone be Gwen Stacy, which was perfect.
Oh, she was perfect.
Yeah, she was perfect as
a
Gwen Stacy.
Cast.
Yeah,
nerdy. Just
I was like, that was a perfect Gwen Stacy.
I forgot to write the apartment. Is on it. It's just go.
And then Kristen Dunst as Mary Jane on the first Spider-Man movies.
That's her name.
Yeah, and I was like, they were able to sell that shit because in those movies, she became a model, she became an actress. She did the damn thing. It was like to actually prove that this is how people see her.
She did the damn thing. Damn it. Don't take this away from her.
So I was like, hey, like, then you have Zendaya, and it was like, yo, why the fuck are you acting as if this bitch is like the best thing that ever happened to you? You just started liking her in the previous movie, only after you got rid of the girl that you was just head over heels gaga for previously. So it wasn't even.
He was gone over her.
So it was like, it wasn't even that long since you and Liz broke up, or like you stopped liking her, and then Zendaya character popped in. But then it was like on the second movie, it just made it seem like that's your forever girl. And it's like, that doesn't even make any sense.
That would have been cool if, because when Toby and Andrew was talking, when he was like, do you got someone? And then when Toby started talking and he say Mary Jane, and then Andrew be like, huh? He like, that's weird, because I know a Mary Jane. Like, I met one. And it was like, yeah, like, yo,
he's like, my MJ, Mary Jane. Or I would have loved it if they had a post-credit scene for both of them. And to where you saw Toby go back home and Kristen Dunst was there. And then he was like, I got something crazy to tell you. Or it show you Andrew Garfield, and it's like when he go home, he bump into somebody, and he just be wearing regular clothes. And he was like, man, that was crazy. He bumped into someone. And he was like, oh, hello. She was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And she was like, oh. And she was like, I know you, right? And he was like, oh, I don't know. My name's Peter. And she was like, Mary Jane. And he'd be like, Like, that would have been a nice little closure thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, especially like having like Andrew do the peace sign at Toby and Toby doing it back. And I was like, just had a little thing that showed them back in their time.
They were the best.
Yeah. Like, have them go back in their reality and have a nice little closure thing. Literally the same thing that happened in Into the Spider-Verse. And considering the fact that this movie just tried to copy Into the Spider-Verse.
That was the greatest.
Yeah, and I was like, and the fact
even
that
they're like you said, like the reasoning for things to happen in this movie, it wasn't solid.
Yeah.
But it's like the reasoning for that. And it was like Kingpin, who he is and what he wants. And it was like...
And the money that he was able to get and the finances he put
I'm
in
rather to go against reality just so I can get my family back. And it was like, yo, and it was like, I don't care of the consequences of that.
Yeah.
And Spider-Man was like, yo, I know what you're trying to do, and you shouldn't do it. Like, it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. And it's like,
and then the fact that you don't generally know that, and then it's like pieces of it get shown to you until it's like until it's immediately explained at the very end.
Yeah.
But like you just get pieces of it, and then it's like up until like the accident or whatever. And seeing how that is, and it's like, oh shit, this nigga trying to get his family. And then it's like when he was fighting him, and he was like, is this what you want? Like, your family? And it was like, oh shit, like that's kind of...
Even when he was fighting him, the fact he was like, no, like, don't, like, it was like the same
And it was
situation.
like, what are you doing? He's no, this isn't, and it was like, get away from me. He's like, no, Vanessa, please.
And it was like, yo, he loves his family. And it was like,
that's a humbling moment as well as a somber aspect for a villain, which was dope. And it was like, yeah, because like these niggas ain't just completely evil and whatnot, but hell, this movie just had it to where as soon as they were defeated, all the villains were like, we're not villains anymore. And I was like, that's not your bag, baby. Like, if anything, Jamie Foxx was a huge letdown in terms of when he got defeated. And it was like, they could have did more.
One of the only funny characters. But what his character was, they completely went against.
Yeah, and it was like, they could have did so much more with how obsessive he was over his ability and his power, to the point where if he was acknowledging the fact that if I get rid of my power, I won't have to die, but then still get the notion of, F this noise, I want to be a god because that's what I've always wanted to be. That would have been fine. And it was like, that would have been fine. But then it was like, even when the power got taken away, it wasn't just an immediate, they got me, I lost. And it was like, nah, it's a, like, man, like, I wanted, like I'm a nobody.
Yeah, like, him still being, like, a little bit antagonistic towards, like, Andrew.
Yeah.
And it was like, you, like, no matter what, you keep trying to take everything away from him. Like, why can't I be something? And it's like,
and then, like, and just have Andrew talk to him. It's like, no, man, you are somebody. Like, don't, like, it doesn't matter if you have powers or whatnot.
Like, you
are
always
somebody.
trying to take the spotlight. And it was like...
And it's like, and then just have Andrew talk him down from that, which would have been a Spider-Man moment, rather than just, we got rid of their powers. That means that we fixed them. They good now. And it's like, no, have them convince them to be good people. And it's like, have Toby come out and give Green Goblin the talking that he couldn't do in his fucking movie, and then still have Green Goblin stab his ass, because that's who Green Goblin is. And then that'd be a lesson for Tom Holland as to, there's some people you can't help. And it's like, no matter what you do, and then even if they injected him with the stuff, it didn't work. That would have been fantastic. And it was like, nah, that was a perfect formula. And he was like, yeah, it probably was. He was like, it was
at some point, like at one point, it probably would have been. It was like, he's too far gone.
And it was like, nah, man. It was like, I am the Goblin. And then he was like, no matter what, I'm Goblin. And it was like, that would have been fantastic, because it was like, that would have been a huge milestone in terms of who Spider-Man is and what he has to deal with. That even if it seems like there's no way to help this dude, you still try to help him. And it was like, but nah, it was like, just they had so many different missed opportunities. And it was like just really small moments in which it was like, yo, this writing was solid. This could have been really good. This could have been a really good movie. But it is from the same niggas who wrote the first and the second of the Tom Holland movies. So these motherfuckers don't know how to write Spider-Man. It was like, so we got Iron Man Jr. 3.
And it is an MC.
Featuring Spider-Man and Spider-Man. It was Spider-Man and the Amazing Spider-Man. Now I guess since,
great.
yeah, like all of this time talking about the negatives, we could talk about the positives. This movie is good. I will say that. And it's like, I give it half of a spectrum of a movie, because it's like, yeah, the story and everything is not solid, and they try to force so much on emotions and other goofy shit out of the audience, when it's like, you didn't really need to work that hard just to make this bad boy happen, but you did, and then you focus way too much on the wrong shit. You had Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire come back to reprise the roles of Spider-Man, and they're in near the end cap of the movie in Act 3. That's stupid. That is so stupid. The first act is dealing with Peter Parker having to deal with his identity getting revealed. Second act is when the villains show up and him having to deal with them. And the third act is when after Aunt May died. That's the movie. That's the whole concept of the movie. But This movie had really good fight scenes. Gotta give them that. Had really good fight scenes. Only thing that I'll say sucked was that the first fight scene between Doc Ock and Spider-Man was stupid, and the last fight scene between Spider-Man and Green Goblin was stupid. Other than that, those scenes were great. Yeah,
it started out bad and it ended bad.
Yeah, and it was like, but other than that, in between,
those clever bastards.
Those motherfuckers was doing the damn thing. I was like, they was getting down and dirty.
Oh, yeah,
they was having
Tom Holland getting his ass whooped.
Yes, and it was like they was doing some dope ass fight scenes, and they was having some epic action moments. I cannot deny that in the slightest. When the movie is actually funny, it's generally funny, and that is only when the villains show up.
Yeah, that truly starts.
When the villains show up, and then when it shows Andrew and Toby. Other than that, this movie has a hard time trying to sell comedy.
They truly do.
And I guarantee you a bunch of people will sit there and defend the fact that because the movie ended with them being incredibly enjoyable and funny and entertaining, it will supersede all of the dumb shit that had to build up to that point, because that's just how moviegoers are, and they function because they're fucking retarded.
Hey, people like Endgame.
Yeah, people like Endgame. But it's like, nah, that movie sucked in the beginning. The Fat Friend wasn't funny. Zendaya wasn't funny. All the little jokes that they had between Doctor Strange and Spider-Man wasn't funny. That fight was also really fucking stupid. Spider-Man versus Doctor Strange. It was a nice little thing to look at.
It was nice to look at. It was just I feel like it was a little hint of reminder of what Doctor Strange
can do.
It was like, hey, remember the first movie? Yeah, he can still do it.
Literally the same thing.
Because literally, the fact that when he came out the portal and he was like, I've been stuck over the Grand Canyon for 12 hours, and the nigga did this, and it came into his hand, I was like, what? And I was like, so when Peter was out of the body and he was reaching for it and it kept moving because his body was just moving on pure instinct, I was like, so that means he could have just
brought the thing back to his hand.
Because it's like, then like that literally, the instinct wouldn't have worked against that because it's like, coming back to you. And it was like,
that's a plot hole.
And it was like, that doesn't make any sense. And like I said, like in the movie, they established that the Asian dude became the new Sorcerer Supreme. And like you said, even though this whole world is like it's having problems with the multiverse problem, he didn't come back at all. Even though he's supposed to be aware of this. Just like how Doctor Strange was aware as soon as Thor and Loki just came to Earth. And it was like, nope, there's like two Asgardians on Earth. What y'all doing here?
Yeah, and it's like that's not a stone thing. That's just what they do.
But it's like realistically, because that's the same thing with on the Shang-Chi movie. Yeah. It's like everything that was going on with that, a beast came out that could literally suck the soul out of everything. And it's like they knew about the rings, but yet they did nothing about it. Like he came at the very end. It was like, you still got the rings? He went, yeah. He's like, all right, come with me. So it's like, so you're aware, but it's like, and it's like, yeah, but like, who cares?
See, that's that whack ass writing that they do in the MCU. And it was like, oh, shit don't matter as long as we do an origin story. But at the end, we'll remind everyone, oh no, there's a group of people out there. Fuck you. It was like, that doesn't work like that.
Like when it really comes down to it, they'll come together. Yeah. like you said, the first fight with Doc Ock is like, yeah, the fight was weak. It was weak, and also, like I said, they gave just a MacGuffin of a reason on why Spider-Man didn't lose. Because he lost that fight.
really lamely at that. But like but like the movie, when it did its comedy, it did it well. It was actually funny and entertaining. I actually liked the moment where his spider sense went off and he just didn't know what was wrong. And then he like attacked Norman.
I liked that time, but when he was first on the bridge, I didn't like that one. Because I was like, I don't know why they keep trying to prolong it. Like him being confused with when they was all there, I was like, I thought that was cool, especially like because when he looked at Jamie and he was like,
why are you looking at me? Yeah, he's like this is coming from somebody. It's like someone is making me like I'm in danger right now. And it was like, who is doing that?
But he can't feel it. And it was like he can't really pinpoint it. And it was like, especially because this man right now is surrounded by villains. And it was like
the instinct,
right, that's
Norman. And it was like,
that's something. But it was like when he was on the bridge, and I was like, yo, this give off like some Jurassic Park vibes. Yeah. It was like, you just feel the vibration. It was like, what is that? And I was like, that's not how that works. And I was like,
with the dumbest woman in existence, this bitch sat in the back seat and did not move the entire time. She was like, unlock the door. Unlock the door.
Fact she said the door was locked, but then she opened it.
And then it was like, so how did you get the door unlocked? And I was like, if you was able to pull it up and unlock the door, and then that door was stuck, move over to the next seat and unlock it.
Not only that,
If you were able to
how
climb
was
up to the front to unlock it, climb out of the front fucking door. You wouldn't climb back.
Which is also weird because it showed her unbuckle the seatbelt, but when it fell out
No, she was buckling it when she was before she fell out.
I thought she was unbuckling. All right.
Yeah, she buckled it. And I was like, nigga, get out of the fucking car. And I was like, how hard is it to climb from the back seat up to the front? You're not in a stretch limo. There was no glass blocking you off.
It's just funny because like that whole movie, like I said, it was just them. They were literally just copying the other movies. Because like when he saved the car from falling off the bridge,
the Amazing Spider-Man.
and I was like, that's Amazing Spider-Man right there.
Yeah.
Even when he was fighting Electro and he did the thing,
I was like, Amazing Spider-Man.
I was like, Amazing Spider-Man yet again. And I was like,
That was another stupid part because he was like, I'm going to stay here and fix this so they don't blame me for something else. And I was like, if you stay here and fix it, then they're going to know you did it.
You did.
And then they're going to blame you for it. I was like, there's no proof that your ass was here. You can fucking leave. You have more pressing matters to attend to rather than waste your time to try and fix a goddamn electrical grid. This is not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of what the fuck you got going on.
It seems like it seems like the threat didn't really get to him. It's still until Green Goblin start whooping that.
Yeah. and then having Flint Marko be such a turncoat was so retarded. He's like, well, what's going on? You picked the wrong team. And then even when Jamie electrocuted Doc Ock, it was like, okay, the arms aren't affected by electricity, but at the same time you electrocuted them, which is what broke the fucking chip in the first place. So why wouldn't that break the new chip that they made? Because it's still made with technology. It was like, and then it should have turned him back to the evil Doc Ock. But your story couldn't have that happen, so go fuck yourself. No. And I was like, all of that
because something that the MCU worked on can't be flawed.
Well, yeah.
Because all that was showing like realistically, he could have solved all of their problems. And it's like, I could have fixed them, but y'all just fought them. And it's like, I'll fight you right now.
So it's like just the worst. But it was like the stuff that they did well, they did do it well. Yeah. I will not harp them on that. It's a movie that's worth seeing. And then just Andrew and Toby alone is a reason why I would buy it. I would not get Far From Home or Homecoming ever in my life. This motherfucker over here bought the shit for me because he's an ass.
No, because I love you, all right?
You're an ass.
Do you not like Spider-Man?
Fuck you and the horse you rode in on that fucked you again, right? But I would get this movie. But I know
I'm his
for
brother,
a fact,
by the way.
But I know for a fact that if I watch this again, I would skip the entirety of the beginning because that is so inconsequential to what they got going on. And it is just such an unnecessary aspect of this entire movie. Oh, shit. Almost forgot, the major faux pas of this entire fucking movie. Or this trilogy, realistically. They killed Aunt May, and they used her death to facilitate Uncle Ben. That has to be single-handedly the worst aspect of this movie in its entirety, because it made absolutely no fucking sense to why he's Spider-Man in the first fucking place.
Because
even to the point,
that's just the
core.
core.
Well, why he becomes Spider-Man. Even to the point where when she dies saying, with great power comes great responsibility. I wanted to kill everybody in the goddamn theater if it meant that it would not change that part. If it meant it could change that part into being actually making sense. All they needed to do was to have her fucking mention Uncle Ben.
The employees come in, oh my God, I fixed it.
It was like, I had to fix it. They needed to be sacrificed.
You be by the screen and you touch it, leave a trail.
Lord Azuzu needed to be pleased in order for me to do this.
I could finally
rest. This was my destiny. It was my destiny.
And now the cinema employees all pack heat, so they shoot you up.
They banging and we banging, cuz. Paru got me fucked up. But that was so terrible. And the fact that it happened after a dope ass fight scene pissed me off so much. You had one of the
best fight scene in the movie.
You had one of the most ridiculous moments in this entire fucking movie. Aunt May trying to protect him when he was in, Green Goblin had him had his head, but she was standing there grabbing some shit to attack, but she didn't attack, and then she was hit by the glider, which is basically what killed her. And I was annoyed at the fact that I was like, why the fuck is she just standing there? Why the fuck is she just standing there? The cops came and I was like, why the fuck are they just standing there? Why is no one paying attention to what the hell is happening?
Up so slow.
And I was like, this shit is dumb.
Like, from when they pulled up, that's when he always was like, yo, we need an ambulance. Like, he screamed out for help in an ambulance. And that was like minutes past. And it just showed him still slowly strolling.
And they're like, just stay where you are. Put your hands up. Stay what you are. Fire. And then they shot. And I was like, cops don't do that. No cop does that. That doesn't make any sense.
All of them shot, but one bullet hit him.
And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. And then, like, he got hit by a bullet, but then, like, he didn't get that fixed. He was shot in the arm, and the movie glossed over that.
But I don't think it went through though, because that's after, because he still had a little bit of nanotech.
He had the nano on him?
Yeah, because remember that, because that's after, because when Doc Ock touched
him, and you gave it back. Yeah, you went
just
back.
Just so they could show another suit.
Yeah.
Bitches.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
Because it showed it with the long legs, and it went over. And I was like, I believe that would be the only reason. Because he wasn't injured.
Yeah,
from
okay,
it.
yeah. All right, then okay. But I was like, what the fuck is happening? I was like, you're literally going to undermine everything that makes Spider-Man Spider-Man by trying to go back and make Aunt May his Uncle Ben in order to justify why he does what he does.
Why he's already been Spider-Man.
Like,
that's like if Batman parents died
after he was Batman.
That sentence can't make sense.
Yeah.
Bruce Wayne parents died, and then Batman came. But Batman parents can't die because that's impossible.
It was like his parents are already fucking dead. It's like, that don't work. He has no reason to be Batman if his parents were never murdered.
It's like the only Robin who can say my dad died would be Tim. But Dick, nah, they was dead before. And it's like, yeah, my parents dead. It's like, yeah, that makes no sense if that's one of the core things that made you.
It's like, you saw your parents die. Flying Graysons. Both of them. It would kill. Mafia shit. Dope.
Doing the dopest backflip anybody's ever seen.
They
like, died the way they live. When they show them fall, it's like, we're going to do one thing, sweetie. Roll.
Aim for the bushes. Aim for the bushes.
And then they just die.
My hero. Like, nobody knows why they did that. Someone says it was the Mafia. They put a bet that they wouldn't jump.
When Dick Grayson was running to their body, he was running and he did a backflip and he continued He was crying at the dad and then he flipped over both of them and then started crying at the mom.
He cried away the baby cried on Honey, I Blew Up the Kid when it was in the middle of Las Vegas and it was like really quiet. He just, so like all the lights and everything in the circus are shining on him. He and then everyone looking sad like they're probably be taking off their top hats and shit. And then he just stand up and do another backflip and then go back down. And he like pass out.
That's how it really happened. But it's like, yeah, like that you can't have. It's because it's like that statement is what Uncle Ben was.
And then that totally disregards the beginning of Civil War when they introduced his ass, because that's why he was doing what he was doing in the first fucking place. Because you kind of hinted at the fact that Uncle Ben was alive, as well as the fact that he was already told with great power comes great responsibility. But it's just that he didn't word it that way.
Yeah, he worded it differently.
Because that's the same thing that was said to Andrew Garfield, but Andrew Garfield even like his Spider-Man was like, that's what Uncle Ben said. Because Uncle Ben on Amazing Spider-Man was like, when you have an ability to do something, it's your moral obligation to make sure that you help people with it. And it was like, that's with great power comes great responsibility. There you go. It's just they didn't say that word for word. And then he told Tony Stark, I was taught by someone that when you have the ability to do something and then you don't, that's when the real bad stuff happens. And it's like, that's where great power comes great responsibility. That's that speech in a nutshell.
Yeah, but he did that from a hobo off 79th Street. That was just asking for a calzone.
And it's like, that is unbelievably fucking stupid.
And like I said, to give that to someone else, that's also like, yeah, no. It's like, but they were mad. I don't care. Like, that's not. No, like you said, the best thing would have been, remember what your uncle always said.
Yeah. And I was like, if they would have did that, it would have been fine. But they were trying to take way too much to facilitate that he go to the Peter Parker that essentially everyone has been complaining that this Spider-Man is not. So this movie was generally designed to strip everything away from this motherfucker so he can have literally nothing. That way you can see him struggle and then actually facilitate and showcase that he actually has to pull himself up by his bootstraps. He is a relatable Spider-Man. But this literally is in contradiction as to why he became Spider-Man in the first fucking place, which makes these movies even stupider in the retrospect of that.
Because the unrealistic, the only way you can truly struggle is just with death.
Yeah.
like with Toby, like it's on the second one, they go to the bank trying to get a loan because she loses her house. And it's like, yo, Aunt May lost her house, and it's like, yeah, and this man's still struggling in the apartment. And it's like for Andrew, Aunt May, she had 2 jobs, right?
She had 2 jobs. He was going to college.
He had 2 jobs. He was going to college, and he still worked for the Daily Bugle. And it was like, yeah, and it was like, and her trying to like warn him, like, yo, everything's gonna be all right. You just keep doing what you need to do. And it was like, all right.
And you had her
him knowing, like, yo, stuff is real out here.
It was like, yeah, the Andrew Garfield movie's faults are just the fact that they tried to focus on his parents because the director was a dumbass.
Fucking
idiot. Yeah, and it was like such an idiot. And it was like, no one asked for that, but no one ever knows about it, so I thought I'd talk about it. No, nigga, it was never a thing, which is why in the comics when it happened, it was such a infamously bad concept, which is why no one likes the Clone Saga. But people keep bringing it up and trying to recreate it because no one in Marvel understands that infamy does not mean famous.
I feel like it's a challenge. You know, like they say,
yeah, they're trying to make it a good thing.
Like, I can make this something
good. Yeah, it was like no. Even the animated series did the Clone Saga, and the best thing that they could do was essentially make the clones actually MJ and Hydro Man. And other than that, they just have different dimensional Spider-Man come out to fight, which is what subsequently is the Spider-Verse type of stuff. But fuck all that noise. But it's like having that moment happen was so retarded. And then at the end of the movie, everyone forgets that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. So now no one in the MCU knows that he's Spider-Man. So everything that facilitates that, and the fact that Aunt May is dead, so now he literally has nobody, which is now congruent with the fucking video games, which basically tried to have the exact same emotional conflict, which handled it 1,000 times better when they killed Aunt May, because God was that awesome. That game has some stupid ass fucking storyline elements, and playing as MJ is possibly one of the worst storyline things you could ever do in a Spider-Man game. Aside more than once.
And made her a reporter.
Yeah, and made her a reporter who got a can-do attitude that wanted to be a partner. Fucking stupid. And they made her ugly as hell. Like, she was rendered to be ugly as shit. Even when they went back and changed the game to make it to where now Tom Holland's face is Spider-Man, and it doesn't fit because his face doesn't work on that tall of a body.
That small as hell.
Yeah, it's like, so his head doesn't fit well on a tall body like that. But going back and doing that, and it was like, and MJ is still this ugly, bland type of redhead because, you know, they need to keep her ugly because the most relatable superhero cannot have a hot girlfriend. Motherfuckers. But
because her whole thing is, man, she get humble.
Yeah,
because she know who number 1 is.
Like, but nah, fuck that noise. And I was like, you take that aspect of the video games because I knew they was going to introduce some bullshit because of the fact that Aunt May started working at a shelter, which is something that they've done in the recent comics as well as that was in the video game. Mm-hmm. So when it showed that she was working in a shelter, which is why Green Goblin walked in and talked to her, I was like, some shit gonna happen with Aunt May. I was like, I know some shit gonna happen with Aunt May because she keeps staying around and doing dumb shit that makes no sense. And if for some reason now all of a sudden she's becoming this moral compass for Peter Parker for stuff, but the movie itself isn't explaining how what she has to say is actually correct or right. It's just some dumb shit that somebody who doesn't get what's going on is going to say, being on the outside looking in.
There was no you don't understand,
yeah.
Man. Like, this is...
These people are dangerous. And he was like, they were in their universe. They're supposed to go back to their universe. We should help them. How can I help somebody I'm not meant to help them?
Why don't you get it? They're dangerous. Why? Because they're bigger than you used to be? No, that doesn't work.
And it's like, this isn't someone from an alternate dimension with a disease that I have to cure for. No, that's not the case at all. This is someone from another timeline that has something wrong with them that I'm not a part of. They're meant to die in their universe. That's nothing that has to do with me.
And now I think because you brought up, because the spell brought in the people that knew the identity of Peter Parker. Like you said, Electro didn't know.
No, Electro didn't know.
But he came, and also, why was the Lizard still the Lizard?
Yeah, it was like if his plan was ended and it was over with, he wouldn't be the Lizard.
Yeah,
he was cured.
It was like, if Max knew about him, that means, he was cured at that point. So how was he able to get back? Because he would still be in jail.
And then it's like, if they pulled them from like a moment exactly when they were fighting them or whatever, that's whatever. And that's still stupid, but whatever.
Like it would have been better if they clarified that both Toby and Andrew have done a lot more after. Because like I said, they both only announced one other villain that they didn't show. He was like, I fought a Russian dude in a rhino suit.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, the end of the made Spider-Man. He was like, I fought an alien. You know, it was like, this alien is like, oh, that's Venom. You're older, right? They know you're older. You've done more. Just say it's not hard.
Well, Topher Grace never said he was Venom.
Yeah,
he never said he was Venom. He just said, I fought an alien with like a black goo. He's like, I fought an alien, but he was purple and in space. And he's like, okay. He's like, man, I wish I fought an alien. I want to get back to you in space.
Good old Toby.
Hey, I was part of the Avengers. That's great. What is that? It's like, nigga, in our world, we handle shit by ourselves. Fuck a group. It's like, fuck these losers.
That's how we get down. Anyway, was that a band? Were you a part of a band? And he's like, nah, how's this helping us? Like,
how is this helping? And it was like, I used to be in the group. And it was like, how's this helping? And it was like, the shit should have automatically clicked when they were fighting, considering that it just did that anyway. It was like, so that was weird. But it's like, oh, we don't know how to fight together. And it was like, that should have been a fight that happened before the final fight. It was like them being like, we don't know how to fight together. Then having that moment where they started to talk and learn more about each other, and then they were able to fight.
Actually, now you think about it, I seem like movies are like they're taking out that more. Like, well, not taking out that more, but like you said, if they had a fight before, like with Venom 2.
Yeah.
If he would have had a conversation with Carnage before the last one, then that would have added more. But for whatever reason, it's like, yo, let's just take that out and just combine it. And it was like the first little mishaps of they're not knowing, and then bam, they figured it out right there and there. And it was like, oh, but like you could have had just more action. Who wants action in a comic book movie? I think you lost sight.
Hell, it's like on
everything.
Hell, it's like on fucking Logan. On Logan, you had actual Wolverine fight the clone Wolverine, and he got his ass whooped the first time after he killed Professor X. In a moment where he would be in his most distraught and angry, he was getting his ass whooped by a younger and better Wolverine. And then it took for his ass to get doped up, and he's willing to sacrifice himself. And then he was able to fight and beat this nigga.
For his baby girl.
With his baby girl. Still resulting in that nigga death, but that's how he's supposed to go out, because that's actually a good movie.
For his baby girl.
Man, she called him dad at the end. God, it's a great movie. Like, Logan was good. Oh, Logan is good. But
ain't never getting shit like that again.
Yeah, ain't never gonna see shit like that again.
They're gonna get more bad jokes.
More quirkiness. More awkward stuff. But yeah, that Aunt May shit, it was like, having her die that way was so lame and so pathetic. Just to be like, now he has nobody. And it's like, that should not be a thing. That should not be a thing at all.
Because him having nobody isn't what makes him
Spider-Man.
It's like, oh man, he got this life of solitude. Hey, the best way to end it is when he got to the apartment and he was like the rent doing the first, and like he tried to open the door and he was like, hey, you need to fix this damn door. And then the credits roll.
Fix the door. Hey, the door's stuck.
And the credits in, and it was like all Spider-Man's deal with a bad door.
It's like, but now like you got this nigga like erased from existence completely, and so it was like he's not relatable because of the fact that no one is there to help him anymore. That doesn't make him relatable. What would have made him relatable is if even after all of that he continues to still be Spider-Man, but then you persisted that he still had a glimmer of hope of something coming from this nothingness that he has. You got rid of Aunt May, and then you had him basically come to the conclusion of, I don't want to reveal myself to people whom I can endanger, because of that little small scar that Zendaya had on her face at the end of the movie, which, that was clever, but, and it was like, it could have been better. It really should have been better. And it's like, if
you're saying that she should have missed the arm?
I mean, no, like still had it to where like, even though people don't remember Peter Parker, or it was like, it'd be like he never existed. That still doesn't like, it really didn't change if they were to have done it to where it was like, he was still May's nephew, so it was like, even when Happy walked up and he was like, how do you know her? And he was like, through Spider-Man. I was like, this is total fuckery, because that would have been well played out if Happy was like, I know she was your aunt, and I'm sad that something happened to her. But it's like, he doesn't know that that's Spider-Man. And it was like, and it's sad. And it was like, because she died.
Actually, yeah, because it seemed like at the end the spell changed completely from what it was
originally. Yeah,
because it was really just people forget that he was Spider-Man, but now it's like, nah, like you just don't exist. And
but then Spider-Man's still around. But it's like, if Peter Parker doesn't exist, then how does Spider-Man still constantly around?
So it's like, realistically, I feel like, like they still should have known, like, you're my friend. Like, the fat friend, like, you're still my friend. And her, like, we go to school together. But it's like, okay.
Yeah, we don't know that Peter is Spider-Man. That's it. And it's like, that's all that should have been a takeaway.
It's like their relationship wouldn't have changed considering the fact, like, her being with him was the fact of, like, her, it coincided with her figuring out that he is Spider-Man. So, like, what they had, I can see that changing. But him, like, Peter Parker, like, don't exist, that makes no sense. Because that was not what the spell was.
And it's like, and even if, like, if Strange had to change it to where it was like now, because he was like making a spell to where everyone forgets me. He was like I'm just gone completely. He's like, it's going to be like you never existed. And it was like, okay, if that works, then that means that there can't be any existence of Spider-Man. But immediately by having Jameson being like, Spider-Man yet again did all this, and people claiming that he helped them when I'm saying that they're wrong, it's like, that doesn't fit with what you just said. If he's like he's never existed at all, then his suit is gone. Then this nigga is not there is no Spider-Man, and that means all the help that he's ever contributed to stopping Thanos and all that shit cannot, in fact, actually be a thing. But it is a thing, so you can't do that. It literally just should have been where it was like, I'm no longer, like, no one knows I'm Spider-Man. And if it just went like, go back to what the spell was at the beginning. Because then, like, and then you just have it to where he was like, he just kind of breaks something down from Strange. And he was like, were you still trying to give me what I wanted? And then Strange, like, look at him. And he was like, forget that. No one remembers I'm Spider-Man. And it was like, then that would have been a good way of helping out. And then, like, Strange just be like, you gave up so, and it was like, you done so much. And it was like, I didn't want to take that from him.
Like digging deep in like the whole reason why he wanted to help him out in the beginning.
And it was like, that would have been a nice little moment for Strange. And it was like, because that would have been something where it was like, yeah. And it was like, and then actually, even still have
a deeper look at him, because especially it was like, for what he is, it's like, because now he's just the Sorcerer Supreme. Like, I used to be like one of the best physicians out there in the world. And it was like, no one knows me as that anymore. And it's like, this is all I am. And it was like, I saw a way to help you with that. And it was like, but, and it's like, this is what you want.
People still know him. Yeah, but it's like, he can't interact with them anymore. He's just the Sorcerer Supreme.
That's what I'm saying. But it's like him looking at like,
I don't want you to just.
Like, I'm trying to give you.
And he just could have said, he was like, you're just a kid, man. And it was like, you shouldn't have to go through all this. And then he just being like, I can though. And it's like, yeah, that's who Spider-Man is. That would have been a Spider-Man moment. But instead, this was like, yo, this is a continuity issue because you now have Spider-Man existing, but Peter Parker doesn't. And that doesn't fit because Peter Parker can't have the Spider-Man suit that Tony Stark made for him, but Spider-Man was around to help with all the other crazy shit. And it's like, again, then why the fuck do you end the movie with him making his own new suit? Wouldn't he still have his suit? It's just Peter Parker doesn't exist? Like, it's just basically a hard stop currently on who Peter Parker is. And it's like, if you're going to contribute that is what happened, then fine. You know, like, that's fine if you want to erase the existence in that mindset. You know, and it's like, hard stop right now, Peter Parker no longer exists. Fine. Okay. But that means that everything that Peter Parker had at his leisure while he was doing shit with Tony and whatnot, he can still have access to. So he still has all those alternate suits. He still has the nano suit, all that shit. He doesn't need to make his own suit out of spandex. That wouldn't make any goddamn sense. So it was really broken. Hell, even the glasses and everything. Because then it's like, where the fuck does those go to? Because they go to Peter. So what are we doing here? And it was like the drone shit, all the information on what previously was going on with Peter Parker and which led up to this shit happening in the first place. All of that stuff needs to get either reneged or rescinded, or something needs to pop up that explain. Well, they're gonna probably bring something up later on something stupid.
Video still exists.
Yeah, and it was like, so the movie needed to explain why that's no longer there or that's no longer apparent. To where, because it was like, if you had it to where it was like, yeah, people no longer know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man. That's what the original wish was, but now it's people don't know that Peter Parker ever existed. That still doesn't take away what was already at his disposal, what was already done prior to this moment. So
yeah, because the whole thing is that the only reason they're coming in because they know that he is
Spider-Man.
So still, realistically, the first spell would have still worked in getting rid of him because it was like, yo, they just forgot that Peter Parker is Spider-Man.
There's like, so what is like that? Yeah, that's the thing that didn't make
shit
any sense.
activated fast. As soon as you start doing this shit, start mending together. Now,
Yeah.
I mean, that's a little bit too quick. I was like, yo, let someone escape out. He fight him a little bit. Do something. Don't end on that whack fight that you had. All right.
It was like that was. See, damn. That's the biggest controversy of that entire fucking movie. That's the biggest continuity issue. Because like that doesn't make any damn sense. It's like just like Peter Parker doesn't exist. Okay, you still was able to swing away wearing your suit. Like they still blame you for doing shit as Spider-Man. So you still exist as Spider-Man. It was like he should have been able to grab some tech or some gear or something like that and fix up the stuff that he had currently. But and it was like I actually liked the suit that he made, or like the bright colors of it at the end. It was like the little spandex suit that he was wearing at the very end of the movie.
Yeah, that was very regular.
Yeah, like, and I was like, I liked the way that looked. And I was like, that looks like a good suit. And I was like, I like the way that looked. I was like, it should have shown more of him swinging around or something like that.
No, you can't have that.
Yeah, you can't have that. Yeah, no, this nigga swinging around New York, ew, that's gross. That never happens. Spider-Man never does that. But that would have been
honestly,
fun.
that would have been the perfect stage for their freaking fight. Like, nigga, you're fighting all of these people. Just like on Spider-Man 3, since you wanted to copy all the other movies, yo, Sandman just got more sand from other construction sites.
Which is what he did for the
at
towers.
The end. And it was like, yo,
all they did was just copy every fucking thing.
That's like, all they did.
You copied every other Spider-Man thing, and then you just had basically a bunch
James
of
Franco's supposed to come out and have Spider-Man again and go hang on.
They don't want to put him in movies no more. So
nah, he's crazy, you know. He done mess with the equilibrium.
But yeah, the movie still is a 50 for me. And it's like it ain't the best Spider-Man movie, but for the love of God, it's not the best Spider-Man movie. But nostalgia bait is real. Like realistically, if the nostalgia bait wasn't there, this movie would be a solid 10.
Realistically, that's the last time we will ever get Toby and Andrew.
Yeah. And it was like nostalgia bait is a motherfucker. But it's like this movie would have been a solid 10 because everything else was just really fucking whack. But bringing in all those villains, all of that shit. Hell, the fact that this was being done without actually trying to give him a new villain or anything like that, which seems like the more apt thing.
Yeah. He just fought the
other people.
He just fought good villains from the
other movies,
two.
yeah. Which is totally fucked up because that's how terrible this movie is. And then you end it with trying to basically bring some symbolism of what Spider-Man actually is or whom he's always meant to be. And then you just have that be the end of your movie. Hell, you had him studying for his GED, but the nigga doesn't exist. So how does he have a passport? I mean, how does he have identification of any kind to solidify that he's real or anything like that? There is nothing. So it's like, how do you do that? Like, he doesn't have a social security number anymore. None of that shit exists.
At first, when it showed him in the new suit, at first I was like, why has he got a new suit? But then, like you said, like they literally, trying to show... Where they stripped him of everything to show, like, nah, he's Spider-Man.
Regardless.
So it's like, yeah, so now we got, classic color suits. Because, majority of the movie, he was in the little black and red one. Like the black and red version. And it was like, that's not basic Spider-Man. It's like, yeah, but it was like, nah.
No, the blue and red one. It was the blue and red one. They had him in the blue and red one.
Well, the darker one? It was like the darker black one.
No,
so
that was the blue.
Black. It was like, it was darker.
It was the blue one. That looked like the blue one. Because when he was trying to rub the paint off, it was blue. There wasn't black.
Yeah, that one. But I'm saying at first, when he was originally like
in the beginning, because like that's when it ended. He was wearing the black on. Yeah, but then he just stopped wearing.
The majority of the movie though, he was wearing that one like because the one that had the paint on, that joint had the paint on for the majority of the movie.
And then he kept wearing it for some stupid reason. And then it was like Aunt May got the color out. And like Aunt May was able to get out. It's like this nigga was scrubbing the shit out of it. Like.
He's strong.
I was like, that didn't make any goddamn sense. I was like, oh, that's stupid. I was like, and then it doesn't have like a self-cleaning thing because it's Tony Stark's shit. So why wouldn't it? And it was like dumb shit. Small dumb shit was really all over the place in this movie.
Like you said, when he said that they don't know what he's going through, like you said, like when he said it, I was like, how dare you talk to them like that? I was like, regardless of the fact that they didn't lose Aunt May, I was like, they love Aunt May just like you love yours. I was like, nigga, that's their mom. I was like, yeah, and I was like, none of that. Like they stated, they experienced other death regardless of what you know. And it's like, yeah.
And
it's like Toby talking, it's like, yeah, my best friend. And it was like, yeah, held him in his arm when he died after he tried to kill him. And it's like, yeah, you haven't went through that, Tom, huh? Well, you haven't put it out.
Even when Andrew was like, Gwen, and I was like, yeah, Gwen hurt, but at the same time, so did Uncle Ben. And I was like, and your ass was going around trying to get revenge. Yeah. You was just attacking niggas. And I was like, when Uncle Ben died.
It's like, yeah, I know they said that to like, just throw in another character that way instead of like both of them be like, yo, Uncle Ben, like, yeah.
And he was like, it should have been like, he was like, I lost both my Uncle Ben and Gwen. He was like, my MJ. And it was like, that would have been perfect. And I was like, just.
It's like, hell, my MJ, and it's like, because of me, her dad died. Like, yo, you don't know what the fuck I've been through, but I know something about
and he was like, because
he did go to private school.
He was like, because I didn't step up, my uncle died, and then the girl I love, father died, and then she died. And he was like, and because of that, he was like, eventually the pain, it just got so much that I stopped pulling punches. And it's like, that, it was like small little shit that just could have added so much depth to the characters. Just easily was missed out on because these niggas wanted to have more solid moments between Tom Holland and Zendaya just doing nothing.
Because hell, when it showed Toby, the fact that he was like, I've been trying to look for yours. He was like, because I know, like, he needs
my help
right now.
And he needs our help. And it was like, yeah, cool. And like, it's like the fact that it was like, yo, you missed out on a clear opportunity to basically kind of align yourself with Into the Spider-Verse. Because that's how Into the Spider-Verse handled that situation. It's like, if there's anybody in the world who understands what Spider-Man's going through, it's another fucking Spider-Man. And then like, hell, even Spider, was it, Ham Spider or Spider-Ham?
Spider-Ham.
Yeah, and it's like, even Spider-Ham, when he had that moment, and he was like, Miles, the hardest part of this job is the fact that like tragedy is going to come and follow it. And it's like, there's nothing you can stop it. You know, it's like, that's what it means to be Spider-Man, but you got to keep going. And it's like, how do you let that movie do more in bringing emotion and getting an understanding on who Spider-Man is when you literally have niggas that started the fucking movie franchise of Spider-Man and it was allowed to build up so much depth and complexity with them intervening or teaching Tom Holland, who is still considered a kid in this retrospect because this nigga still ain't in college. Fuck. It's like, Jesus Christ. You could have did so much with it. Oh, like it's like there's so many missed opportunities, and it's like the movie itself is good. I mean, yeah, Jamie Foxx standing butt ass naked in front of Sandman and Spider-Man. He's like, we ain't gonna sit here and act like I ain't butt ass naked. I am.
I ain't about to acknowledge this.
It's like looking at a naked black man. We ain't gonna stand here and act like I ain't butt ass naked.
Hey, of all the villains, he was the funniest.
Hell, having Green Goblin steal donuts.
In the background,
he just kept
talking.
He just kept taking donuts.
Like, man, I don't understand, man. We hungry. Did you just say we? Hey, you had to be questioned.
And I was like, and then even when you had it to where it was like Green Goblin was basically still underliningly evil. And it was like they should have had it to where he had a scheme. Like he had a plan. Like he's
Green Goblin.
Yeah, like he's Green Goblin. Like he's building up something. And it was like, and this would have been a perfect moment of essentially being like a small version of the Sinister Six.
Throw another bomb that, incinerates, corporate heads.
And it's like, honestly, instead of Aunt May dying, it should have been someone else. And it's like, if they was to establish or to have him
Fat friend.
Possibly.
Because he wanted to always be and shit.
Yeah. It was like, if he died like that, it was like same emotional consequence. And then it's like, the fuck.
He still cried weak though.
Yeah. Cry like a bitch.
That's what popped in my head. Now that, man, he cried like a bitch. And I was like, he need to learn from the great. Come on, Gwen. And I was like, you ain't beating that.
Stay with me. Stay with me. Stay with me. Come on, stay with me. Gwen. Gwen, no.
I'm like, you ain't beating that. Hell, when they was talking, I was like, this man showing more sadness than you right now.
And it was like him and Toby were able to tear up. And I was like, God, these motherfuckers are beautiful. And they sat there.
Over there glistening.
I was like, they popped up and just started talking and everything. I was like, they're beautiful. I was like, it's so beautiful. But the beginning of this movie is fucking stupid. It was like, the fat friend, no magic. Oh, I forgot about that part. The fat friend got to know magic. That shit was stupid. In order to justify him being able to get the other Parkers out, they could have easily had it to where it was one of those little apprentice magicians that they had there working on random shit. Because they could have started helping. Because they're like, we don't know what the fuck we doing. And that would have
Tom Tom Holland and them like just lied, and it was like, yo, like Doctor Strange just like stuck doing something else, like emergency popped up, so he asked us to help, and then like they feeling like happy and obligated. They be like, Doctor Strange wanted us to help, and they be like, yo, we in there now, forget shoveling snow.
That could have added other characters that could have popped up on Doctor Strange's shit, and then they wouldn't have been able to interact, and they know Spider-Man, and also would have kept Zendaya and the Fat Friend out of the fucking movie because those niggas were not important at all. They kept doing the stupidest shit, and it just kept prolonging shit. But that's what the other movies keep doing because they're so bloated and they don't know how to handle characters. Because it was like shit was happening with Tom Holland Spider-Man while he was fighting people, and then it was like, what the fuck is Toby and Andrew at? Like they're gone. And it was like they already cured everybody, but then it was like they were gone, and it was like this doesn't make any damn sense. That was so idiotic. But it's like these movies are so fucking bloated.
Heck, it would have been better if since they wanted to include the Zendaya chick, if they took her for whatever reason or whatever, it was like, if there's one thing we know about Peter Parker, he sure do love his women.
Yeah.
And it was like,
and then like you give us the box, we'll give you the girl. That would have been perfect.
That's it.
And then he'd be like, I need help building this stuff, and then we can stop them. And it was like, because I want to. It was like, we got to save her, but also save them. And then it was like, now that's Spider-Man. That would have been fine. And it was like, that would have been fine. That would have made sense, and it would have kept her around. But then also, that would have been copying Spider-Man 3, because that's exactly what happened with Spider-Man 3.
I mean, they wanted to copy everything else.
Yeah, they want to copy everything else.
Like you said, they showed the construction equipment. Oh, here goes Sandman. And it was like, where did I see this before? From a good Spider-Man movie. You're damn right I did. But people don't like that one. I liked it.
But fuck. And it was like Fat Friend was able to do magic that Doctor Strange had to get pushed into the fucking tundra in order for him to master. And that nigga almost died doing it. But Fat Friend was just...
And that man himself is a master at it. Like the time frame of which Doctor Strange has practiced, that's already like, yo, nigga, that's prodigy time right
yeah.
And it's like, you already a cut above the rest.
Hell, even the great one was like, he's the better of all of us. So,
and it's like, he just got here.
It was like, why is this nigga stuck? And like, if you was to basically been smart and actually intervene with whatever the fuck Doctor Strange got going on in his movie, and that impeded on him being able to interact in Peter Parker's movie, that would have been dope. Because then it would have been like, what the hell is keeping Doctor Strange occupied?
Hell, while they was in a little mirror where if you saw it get closed off and him being confused and like, what is that? And then it's like you find out it's the black dude that went away, like, or someone encasing him.
Yeah, like something. Yeah, it was like that would have been cool.
Like, if I can get you off world right now, like this, like they just saw the opportunity. It was like, yo, keep him here. And then like he can't. He's like, I don't know why. It means like there's other things that.
And then that would have been cool if Doctor Strange was like, he was like, there's something that I saw when I was gone. If I need your help, I won't remember you, but please help me. And it was like, or come to the aid. And it was like, and then he'd be like, hey, it's what I do. And it's like small things like that. And it was like, that would have been fine. Because that would have been a perfectly logical way of keeping Doctor Strange occupied, rather than this nigga didn't have the thing on his finger, so he can't do magic.
But yeah,
or he couldn't escape. He still could do spells and shit.
Do grand spells.
Yeah.
Mending the universe around.
And it was like, I can't escape the mirror dimension that I have full control over. But if I have the thing on my finger, then I'm able to teleport. Nigga, you the Sorcerer Supreme. You do not need a conduit anymore. Fuck that movie. It was like, nigga, why do you still need a conduit to do something basic as like... I was like, these niggas were making portals open up without even moving their hand. Because the Poe dude, Ho. And like he was able to do that when he was grabbing the bags and shit.
That's offensive.
And so it was like if he was able to do that, Strange was able to do that shit. It was like, why do you still need the thing in order to make the circles? That doesn't make any sense. Fuck. There was like so many plot holes in this movie, but it's like it overshadows a lot of the things that was actually endearing and good. Damn. And I was like, it was actually good.
It's like literally if they just extended, Andrew and Toby and the good parts of the villains.
Yeah.
It would have been an amazing movie.
It was like
actually on paper, it all sounds good. And it's like
until you read it.
I'm saying like what they brought up, but when they start putting in the words in between, it's like, nah, it's like, yo, we got Willem Dafoe, yeah, he back for Green Goblin. All right, man, it's already go. Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, both Spider-Man. Man, where else can we go?
It's like, oh man, it's like we got Jamie Foxx. We getting the guy who played Flint Marco. We getting the guy who played fucking Doc Connors. Yo, we getting all these niggas.
Sandman.
Yeah.
Sandman, they got the super waves in the comic. Sandman, they got the super waves in the comic. And they got waves.
Yeah. That's Flint. Yeah. It was like, we got all these people.
I know that's Flint. I was saying that's when they go.
Yeah,
they be like, talking about the one with the waves? The one with the waves.
Like, nigga.
No one got waves like him. Nobody.
And it was like, all right. And it was like, cool. And it was like, so how are we going to bring them in? Oh, yeah. Peter's mad. Peter's upset because him, MJ, and Fat Friend couldn't get into MIT. Him, Zendaya, and Fat Friend couldn't get into MIT. The fuck you just say? Oh, filming already started. It's time to go. It was like, oh, shit.
And they cranking it. They're old school and they cranking up the film.
It's like, this is terrible, but it's going to be so good. And that, I would say, is like the harshest reality of this movie, is that essentially the terribleness of the beginning, because I said earlier, like, that's going to get overshadowed by just how good the ending of the movie was.
Again, Endgame.
Yeah, just Endgame.
That proves, Endgame proves that it worked, because that's, as we know, that's 2.5 hours
of nothing.
Of nothing and just shitting on Ant-Man,
Yep.
even though he's the savior of the whole universe.
Shitting on Ant-Man and making Hulk a bitch.
Yeah, Hulk a bitch, and Tony Stark's the smartest man ever for whatever reason. The dumbass died, though.
Like, that's, 2 hours for that.
Hey, what Hulk struggled for, which is a man above any of them, which was to snap his fingers with all the stones, and it burned his arm horrendously. Yet Tony Stark was able just to snap so easily, and he was able to grab the stones.
Which needs to be on a special metal.
No nanotechnology on this planet is holding that stone. As soon as he grabbed the power stone, Tony Stark died on sight.
Yeah, that nigga should have been obliterated.
And it's like,
damn, yeah, he definitely should have been obliterated.
Yeah, he grabbed all of them.
Yeah.
And it was like, and it was like I said, Hulk struggled just to close his fingers.
Yeah.
And it was a whole ordeal, and them sitting there, and it was like that power. But yet this man was able to go, I'm Iron Man. And it's like, as we know, is how it should have ended there, right? You know, Batman supposed to come up and go, oh,
because
snap.
I'm Batman.
Oh, snap. And it's like, yo.
Like, damn, you play the trailer for the new Batman movie that's coming out.
And that's how it is. Just that man walking in the hallway, getting shot with machine guns, downing people. That's the movie to see.
That's a Nirvana song, I found out. And I have it.
Who you supposed to be?
Yeah. I'm vengeance.
Yo, I'm out.
Snap. He just go, I'm vengeance. Snap. That's just all he do.
I'm out of here. Why you leaving? We can jump him. That was Johnny. Johnny won 15 Golden Gloves, and he just knocked him out like that. I'm out, man.
Also, other weird thing about that movie, the international version, the part where he bangs on the glass, and then he was like, "Where, man?" Yeah, like you couldn't hear it in the English version. I saw the international version of that trailer, and he sounds different. And like they made it to where you can understand what the hell he was saying. Yeah, because he's like, "Where? What have you?" He said, "What have you done?" Yeah, and then I was like, so it was the trailer. Yeah, and I was like, it wasn't the sound, it was the trailer. Yeah,
I thought he was asking for Rachel.
Yeah, where's Rachel? Where's she? Swear to me. Also, the international trailer having it to where it was like the Riddler knows that Batman is Bruce Wayne, but in actuality, it's like Riddler's doing something that involves Bruce Wayne, and that's it. Yeah, so it's like it's involving the Waynes, but it's not. If they have it to where it's like he knows Batman is Bruce Wayne, that's gonna ruin stuff. But whatever. That's a whole different movie for a whole different time and a whole different day. But
fuck MCU.
Yeah. So I will not say that it was a harsh movie or not enjoyable.
It was better than the first two.
It was definitely better than the first two. Fuck if it wasn't better than the first two. And the second one is just atrocious. But Jesus Christ, like all right. It was better. I mean, hell, having fucking Hamburg being like, yeah, I know what you did. You were a murderer. Yeah, nah, you were a murderer when you went back to school and everything. I was like, all right. And I was like, yo, you think he a murderer and you know he got superpowers. Why the fuck you antagonize him like this? Like, it's that dumbass mentality. Like, that's that safe shit. Like, you think you safe? And I was like, nigga, what's stopping anybody from me ripping your fucking head off? Nothing. Then don't talk to me like that, son. You don't know me, son. I'm from Marcy Project. Marcy, son. What? It was like, you don't know my mama, son. You don't talk about my mama like that, son.
Gotta go outside. I said it was like, gentlemen, son.
And I was like, but whatever with that one. But hey, it's a movie I definitely encourage. Like, I wouldn't encourage you to go see it, but it's worth a watch, but it does have a lot of problems. It has a bunch of fucking
That's
problems.
not a thing. I guess him being like that. Well, it would correspond with how he was. On the first one? Because when he showed him the video, he's like, I don't know why they got to show him. He's a war criminal right now. It's like that part was funny because it's like, yeah, he is. He was like, yeah, I don't know why they got to show him. He's a war criminal, but what they told me too.
Wait, who said that?
The black dude, the comedian dude, yeah, because he was the gym coach. Remember? Because
he said, I don't know why they got what on.
Because like he had to show in that video and it was showing Steve Rock.
Oh, that he was like on the first one. Yeah.
He's like,
I don't know. He's like, I don't know why they made me play that because he's like a war criminal or something right now. He's like, but whatever. Like it's the part of the test. He's like a war criminal right now. But see, and that would have been good if they was to introduce like on that movie, if they was to do Spider-Man like how they did on Ultimate Spider-Man in the comic, to where it was like MJ knew that he was Spider-Man. So then it was like when he was talking with Mary Jane, that could have been an interesting conversation to where like she was the one asking all those questions, and it would have been fun for him to kind of show off in front of her because that's how crazy MJ was on those comics.
Damn.
But I know that's good. Jane. Yeah, she ain't Mary Jane. But I'm not saying like not with Zendaya, but if they had a Mary Jane that was actually Mary Jane.
So
like so then he was already dating.
She was crazy. She like, my boyfriend about to go kick your ass. And it's like well, you're great.
In the beginning, but then as Brendan Michael Bendis kept going on, then he made her character change, and it just got really fucking stupid to like the point where when he died, and then she was there, but then Kitty was there, and she was like, you don't get to be here or be sad, and it's like, bitch. Come on. And it was like, this is stupid. Hell, that nigga made Catwoman, that nigga made Black Cat way older than him, and then she threw up when she kissed him when she found out that he was a teenager. Brendan Michael Business sucked. Like, he sucks so hard sometimes.
But he was a teenager.
Like that, like Black Cat, man, Black Cat is his Catwoman. Like, and
she already a criminal.
Might
as well.
But having to do it like, oh, she's like super adult and like, oh, I just kissed a minor. Oh, it's like, no, nigga, why is he like a minor? Why isn't like when he get older he introduces her? But fuck, let's keep him a teenager. You bastard, you makes you gay. But. That was like, yeah, if that would have been interesting for the Homecoming. You know, you had it to where she was like talking to him about Captain America. And she was like, so you know him? He's like, I fought him actually. And she was like, oh, that's cool. And he was like, yeah. Like that would have been more engaging. But instead, you got this fat friend that's just really stupid. And so what else can you do? Like, oh my god, this is like the coolest thing that ever happened to me. So it's like you're Spider-Man.
Literally, after 3 of his own movies, let's see, he was on Civil War, right?
Yep.
He was
on Civil War, Homecoming,
Infinity War.
Yep, Infinity War and Endgame.
So 3 his own movies and 3 extra movies that he was on. And literally on the last movie, like you said, they established what they have unmade, say the whole thing that makes Spider-Man, which is with great power comes great responsibility. Is like, yeah, like they're just like you said. That's when I saw that part, I was just that's why I don't know if you saw. I looked directly at you.
I saw you
because I was
saw you
baffled.
And I couldn't stop staring at the screen. But like my peripheral, I saw you. Yeah. But I was like, I can't stop staring at the screen because I was like, I'm so angry right now. I can't even function.
Because like the example we did with Batman, you know, it's like, yeah, Batman can't exist. Like, you can't have Batman exist like his parents died. Because when I saw that, I was like, this is literally like if they had Miles, but yet Spider-Man never died at first. Right. Like, because that was his sign of with great power comes great power. Like, because Miles has his powers while Spider-Man is still alive. But the fact is that he didn't do nothing when this great hero died in front of him.
It was like, you could have did something.
And it's like, this man died in front of me. And it was like, instead of doing something, and it was like, especially like him seeing afterwards how everybody felt. Like, even like on Into the Spider-Verse, all those people at the little funeral and the speech. And it was like, all of these people were saved and looked up to this man. And it's like, I couldn't save him.
And then it's like, and then considering how the comics handled that made Miles Morales seem like way too much of a bitch. Because he just automatically had his powers for the longest and he just didn't do anything. Even when his friend suggested to him, if you go talk to the real Spider-Man, he could probably show you how to use your power. I don't want to be no mutant. I'm not a freak. Because, Brendan Michael Bendis sucks as a writer. But Into the Spider-Verse, which fixed Miles Morales greatly, had it to where that situation was amazing. And it's like, even what was going on, and he was like, I should go down there and help. But it was like, yo, man, I just got my powers. I'm into this. I'm scared.
Even when you saw Spider-Man, he was just like me. He was like, I get everything. Don't worry. I'm gonna help you. Yeah. He was like, after all of this, I got you.
He's like, I'm gonna show you guys. I'm pretty sure you got a lot of questions going on right now. He said, and I'm gonna help you out with that. But right now, I just need you to take this. And I was like, all that shit was sweet, but that movie was well written and amazing. But fuck, like
he had big eyes that could move. Something that the real life thing could never do.
Big anime eyes.
Like the closest they did was with what's his name? With Tom, it's like that just zooms in and it's ugly to me. I hate it.
Yeah, because it's not anything that's vindictive of like, oh, Spider-Man's having an expression. It's like, oh no, it moves.
Because it's like that.
And
like realistically, the closest thing to that was Deadpool.
Yeah,
like
which is why they did that on for Tom Holland. But it was like, yeah, because
like, his wasn't the same though. His just like it's just lenses. His literally lenses. But it's like, yo, Spider-Man's a man like literally just like on Teen Titans with Robin's mask.
Yeah.
And it's like
the shit get big. Yeah. And it's like, but that's something you just can't implement in real life. Yeah. And it was like with Deadpool, it was clever enough to where it's like, yeah, they're making the cheeks and the eyebrows go up and down on the mask, and it's like, yeah, to show that this nigga has expressions, and it's small and subtle, but it's vindictive of what the character does.
Also because like the design of his mask, like his eyes are more human shaped.
Yeah.
And it's like Spider-Man eye is this half the face, and it was like, all right, but that half face can squint. That's impossible.
And then it's like, the explanation behind it, because it was like, yo, that's to focus his attention on what he got going on, but you have it moving as if it's expressions. So then that doesn't add up to the whole power scaling of why they move in the first fucking place, because you're terrible writers and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. But for the most part, still, yeah, I get that movie a 5 out of 10. It's worth seeing especially if you like Tom Holland, and I mean, if you, not if you like Tom Holland, but if you like Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, I mean, if you like Tom Holland, go see it anyway. You're going to. You're a shell for MCU, but it was.
I have no problem with Tom Holland. It's just for Spider-Man.
Yeah, he's not Spider-Man.
Like, that is connections with Spider-Man. That's what made me go, yo, fuck Tom Holland. But if I saw him in something now, like, yo, Tom Holland, he's alright. He did good. He did the damn thing.
He ain't no Nathan Drake either. But
he was never Nathan Drake.
He ain't no Nathan Drake either. But
I don't got a love for
Nathan
Uncharted
Drake.
Like I like Spider-Man.
yeah, not at all. And the Uncharted games, they're kind of really fucking stupid. But yeah, I said it. Like, those games are fucking stupid.
Making enemies with too many people.
I don't care.
Disney and Sony gonna
keep having them copy the same shit that Indiana Jones do that makes him get caught all the goddamn time. Let's stay in here while mercenaries are after us and solve a fucking puzzle. We can go somewhere else, Nathan, and solve this puzzle. Let's do it here. Fuck. Because after we solve the puzzle, let's ooh and ah the fact that we solved the puzzle. Ooh, thank you for showing me the puzzle, Mr. Nathan. I'll be taking this clue and I'll leave you to your doom. Haha, he took the map, but I have the key. Ha 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 ha. And I remembered what the map looked like. Thank you, unaccompanied minor.
Are your parents with you? They're dead. Oh, I guess.
I am a parent. I don't know what that means. I don't want no part of it. But thank you.
Get on this plane.
Yeah.
That's leaving right now.
Let's go. But yeah, I seriously give the movie a 5 out of 10. It's a half for me. Like it really is only saved by the funny banter and really the nostalgia. But nostalgia doesn't make up a good movie. It's just something that would make me happy, but that does not mean that it's a good movie because of it. So that's why it's a half.
Because the fact that if you literally took that out, then
the movie is nothing. So it's like that's even worse. Because it's like you can look at the Into the Spider-Verse movie, and if you take away the fact that those motherfuckers are Spider-Man, it's still a really good movie. Like it's still a really good movie. But yeah, so it's something where it's like, yeah, I would watch it again for the sake of like enjoying what I did enjoy from it, but it would be those things where it was like I only would watch those parts. I wouldn't sit down and watch the whole fucking movie.
Like Rogue One.
Yeah. You only see the two scenes. Darth Vader. That's it.
That's a bad man.
But
can I still say that? Can I call him a man?
That's sexist. He identifies as a robotic being of
Are you still a man? I'm in pain. Is that a gender?
he's a robosexual.
I guess so.
He's more machine than man now. Gay.
Metal feet.
I can't say that either.
No, you can't.
But yeah, that's For the most part, yeah. I honestly, I'm surprised that I didn't hate it, as much as I thought I was. I thought I was going to go into this movie.
My expectations were completely low.
Like
I was thinking of giving it possibly a 2.
Yeah,
out of 10.
like, I really was like, I'm at a 0 for this fucking movie.
Because their track record has not been good.
Yeah, I was like, I'm at a 0 for this fucking movie. And everything up until when the villains show up, I was like, this shit is in the negatives for me. I was like, it is just so terrible because none of this makes any sense.
But granted, it is. I would rather still, like, the parts that's boring, I would rather look at the planes about to crash on Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Goddamn. I still don't want to see that. But I would just rather not watch
the
either
BS
of them.
that they had on that. If someone had a gun in my head and they go pick one out, Amazing Spider-Man 2 it is.
Because that's in the middle of him fighting Electro. And I can deal with that. It's like, I can deal. That's unnecessary drama, but bitch, I can deal. I'm good. I can handle that. Man. You don't want to see Zendaya and him talk over the phone. Fuck you! Shoot me! Shoot me now! Huh? Shoot me in the face!
You too much of a bitch to do it.
She isn't pretty. Oh my god. It's like, excuse me. And it was like, yeah. Like, excuse me, Officer Spider-Man. Oh! Am I talking louder than I sound? Yes, you are. Oh! But that's a good Spider-Man movie.
That was Spider-Man.
But, yeah, gonna end it here. Definitely, be cool, check out the movie.
That's a long time.
Yeah, it can be longer. But, yeah, definitely, if you want to check out the movie, you can go as long as you want, baby. I don't give a damn. That's the beauty of capitalism. But
I can fix that.
Yeah. But, I wouldn't twist your arm about anything. There's really nothing imperative in this movie that's like spoiler intensive or anything like that. I mean, seriously, if someone watches this...
At the end, they show Doctor Strange trailer.
Yeah, like they literally show a trailer, which was fucking weird for like a post-credit scene. I thought they would do something more with like Into the Spider-Verse to try and connect that, but hey, that was wishful thinking.
The in-between is just dealing with Venom.
Yeah, so like, and then that's even dumber.
Still doesn't make sense on why he was there, considering the movie, the only people that was there are people that knew
Spider-Man.
Peter Parker's identity.
Another
but
contradiction.
In his world, he didn't even have him. So it makes no sense.
Contra motherfucking diction.
It's literally just to build up what they're going to do later on, but again, made no sense.
Which also would be taken away, considering that now no one remembers who Spider-Man is. So I guess if the Vulture is like, I just want to kill Spider-Man, but remember that he's Peter Parker, whatever. But hey, just the whole thing was a clusterfuck.
But then again, because I didn't actually get in that sense that he wouldn't want to
kill Spider-Man. Yeah.
Because yeah.
See. Clusterfuck. A huge clusterfuck. Like, these bastards do not know how to handle time travel or multiverse theory.
Hey, man, all I know is Blade gonna kill it all. Right?
So, like, it's a movie. It's a movie to watch. I tell you like that. You probably won't get disappointed seeing it. And it for damn sure is a hell of a lot better than Endgame. It for damn sure is a hell of a lot better. It's
than
worth
Endgame.
Oh yeah. And it's like it's way more worth your time and a buck than Endgame was, because Endgame is 3 hours of slop. But this was actually something that had moments that was like, hey, this was genuinely endearing and entertaining. I remember looking at both Homecoming and Far From Home and not laughing not one fucking time. But looking at this movie, I genuinely was laughing during the interactions between Toby, Tom, and Andrew. So that was all cool. But for the most part, that's really as far as that kind of goes. So I'm going to end it there. I would like to thank my guest, That Man Ed, for joining me. Check him out on Twitter. At That Man Ed. Yeah, that's it. That's your Twitter handle, right? That Man Ed. Is it Twitter or is it Instagram? Yeah, Instagram.
That Man Ed. Yeah, that THAT, not bat, BAT. The only 2 words that I can spell.
Dyslexia. And you go to my Twitter at Daniel the Flame for other stuff. But this has been another episode of Fun with Flame. I've been your host, Daniel the Flame, and as always, good people. Hope you have fun. Also, be sure to check out the original home of the Fun with Flame podcast over at Anchor.fm. I upload there first and far more frequently than I do YouTube. And you should definitely go there to listen to some of my podcasts that are just too hot for YouTube to handle. So check out Anchor.fm for more Fun with Flame content. Be sure to subscribe and click any of the links in the description to see all of the other things that I am associated with, if you just want a little bit more of that Daniel the Flame in your life.